Hmm. Hmm. Upload's not great again. YouTube sucks. No JFresh today. Let's see. All right, you know what? I don't think I have too much to discuss today. This week shouldn't be too crazy. How you guys doing? Good morning. Good, and you? Hanging in there. I should have slept a little bit more, but otherwise, pretty decent. My shorts got wiped out with Tesla this past week. Shockingly, not many of them. I was looking at their chain Thursday night. I didn't look after Friday, but I could see what happened after expiration. Hold on, let me pull up GS. Oop. All right. Looks like Gamma stayed fairly elevated. Delta fell off a decent amount, at least back to negative on adjusted Delta. So Friday looks like most of the supportive Delta 250, 252, 255, 60 fell back pretty hard. Still some interest out at 280.82, which is kind of the max for my upside target on this. Um, Between 270 280, it still looks fairly choppy. And I would say 65, 60, 250, 260 are still a little bit supportive. I mean, the upside move on Tesla is completely invalid, right? So um, it's just pump. It may not last long. They still missed on EPS. I don't think anyone actually gives a shit about their forward guidance. I think they just needed to get money into Mag 7 stocks with broad ETF exposure. And Tesla was already a good option because the call interest was on the chain, it was just underwater. So a little bit of lift went a long way, but I think it'll probably fizzle. Will they be back? Yeah, I doubt it. I mean, none of the problems that Tesla was facing the prior week have resolved, right? It might take a little while for it to completely break down back to where it was. Probably just another miss in delivery vehicles. You're not the only one with a laggy stream. You could try refreshing it though, that might help. Is there any chance for DVN to exceed 44 in the near future? By end of year, perhaps? I really want to offload some and use the money. Um, yeah, it's not impossible, although it's going to be largely alongside natural gas demand. So, as natural gas speculation picks up as we move into the winter and as demand increases, and depending on wildly on um, geopolitical events over the next 3 to 4 months. But yeah, it could. It could go far beyond $44 as well. I mean, the beauty of DVN is that it stays solid and pays a dividend while you wait for natural gas to do something and continue to poke it with a stick, right? At least that's what I've enjoyed about it. There's been a few rallies on it and opportunities to pick up some money in between when it was a pickles pick like 2 fucking years ago and now. But um, I would say in the long term, they're probably likely to see reduced rates and get their debt paid off. Their cash flows are still pretty decent. They don't seem to be having any issues paying their dividend, at least for the time being. I don't think that's going to drastically change. And the dividend's decent. So it's arguably a little bit better than holding treasuries, right? Right now at 4.5%. That's a little bit better than holding treasuries. And some of their earnings projections have gotten a little bit better. Margins lifted in the last quarter. Just battered by the commodities market. So if you're in at 44 and have no interest in averaging down, I mean, there's always covered calls to increase yield, or we could wait. I was enjoying CSPs on it. I just got assigned a bunch when it sold off. Yeah, that's reasonable. No problem, magnanimous. Yeah, I mean, largely with Tesla, um, analysts are in agreement that rates will come down in the midterm, right? Which I don't think is true, but that's the consensus projection for future rates, right? And so when Elon says we're going to sell more cars for more money than we did last year, right? Analysts are inclined to agree with that statement because their rate projections show that rates are going to fall. Car prices are also going to fall, which is another issue. But as rates fall, they will expect more consumers to want to go out and get new cars, especially ones that have been waiting for rates to decline, which is always presumed to be a larger group of people than it actually is. And that's because you have people with moderate financial literacy analyzing people with no financial literacy. But anytime there's an assumed bounce back in lending, it rarely comes to fruition in the exact scale that is expected. Like most people really just don't give a shit what their rates are. They just buy stuff and they're like, oh, that's a monthly payment I can afford. I don't care if I just got a car loan on a used car for 96 months, right? Um, because they really just don't know what it means. They don't understand the cost to borrow and the cost to carry that debt. And so it like higher rates actually stop very few buyers, right? And until a larger feeling of financial oppression starts to take root in markets. And you can kind of see that in home sales since rates have skyrocketed, right? Um, it took a very, very long time for home sales to slow down. And when we first started talking about the effect of tightening financial conditions on home sales, we were like, oh, like this will probably take 1 1.5 years to start to play out. In reality, it took almost 2.5 years, um, before it really slowed anyone down. But now, everyone looking into homes is kind of like, oh, these rates are too high, right? It's become a common topic of discussion, even among the financially illiterate, and that takes a while. We're crashing Monday, just because we had a weak back half of the week. I like how Israel times their attack after market close. Got to make sure the puts are locked in. Ugh. Oh, Jesus. What have I done? Okay. Anyway, um, Devian. Was there anything else anyone had questions about for this coming week? We got a bunch of earnings. Not too much in tech yet, but we do have some bigger earnings coming up this week. So it will be an important earning week, and then next week even more so, as we move past the end of the month. Let's see. We've got this week. We've got quite a bit. Waste management, Rambus, some insurance, healthcare, electronics, PayPal, Alphabet, AMD, Visa will be very important, especially because there's a lot of. Oh wait, no, Apple and Amazon are this week. Never mind, all of the big techs this week. Why did I think Apple was out past the 28th? Never mind. Coinbase, Meta, Microsoft, Robinhood, Caterpillar, Lilly, Humana, ADP's earnings report will be important because people are still worried about employment. Um, Uber might be a good indicator of pulse in the transportation market. Um, Amazon, Apple, Intel, all pretty important. U.S. Steel is going to be kind of important. And I think Friday we have ExxonMobil, Chevron, Fubo. For those of you that care about that, um, those are all going to be doing a thing too. NuScale was making rounds on Reddit. I believe it's the only company with a certified design to operate in the U.S. Yeah, they do have a certified design. Although other people can build reactors, right? And get design certified. There are already approved designs. Also, I think NuScale's big thing is that they are. They're like the modular reactors, right? Trying to confirm that somewhere. Yeah, so there were two problems with NuScale. One of them being safety concerns. Despite the design getting approved, um, none have actually been built. And the NRC's advisor committee, or ACRS, found reactor design flaws. And the biggest was that in the event of an emergency shutdown, condensed steam returned to the reactor vessel would be low in boron and might not absorb enough neutrons, which could mean boom. And the steam generator can be prone to damaging vibrations. However, despite those safety concerns, ACRS did recommend a safety evaluation report issued and the reactor be certified. However, other reactors um, are can be in the process of getting certified, and it takes a very long time, even from certification to the point of building them. So this is, I mean, everything on NuScale. I think what's the other one? Okla was the other one that ran really hard. Um, I mean, these will still be a very long time till they build physical reactors anywhere. In the meantime, all of these companies are broke as fuck. So, I mean, any performance in their share price due to speculation is probably going to get gobbled up with offerings so they can continue to have runway. Yeah, they're just putting dirty bombs in rural towns all over the US. I'm sure it's a great idea. Stick with bot calls and puts. I mean, vol is still elevated. Obviously, VIX went up quite a bit on Friday with the breakdown. So I would say that there's probably some opportunities for spreads. However, closing below gamma neutral means that the majority of those opportunities are probably call side, and call side carries a little bit more like one or two standard deviation risk than selling on the put side usually does. Like when the market has fallen into negative gamma, things become less stable. So it's usually a time when I start to pare back sold options. Generally not a time when I start adding them. And it is a time where bought options can be mispriced due to realized volatility. However, we're only just a little bit below gamma neutral. We haven't fallen deeply below it. We're not below delta neutral yet, so things could theoretically still stabilize around here without a lot of volatility or reaction from the market. The positioning on the options chain is mostly just thin, which does possibly beget larger moves because there's not a lot of gamma around spot. There's really nothing pinning price. And the more of that situation you get, or the more negative things get, the generally the larger the ranges on the index. And large like a ranging index is not something you want when you're selling verticals. Well, the data this week, it's best to stay out. Maybe sell verticals on major uptrends, major downtrends. I mean, I still have a few like sold options into end of this month on the downside. Like I have some sold puts. They're still fairly far out of the money. Um, but I still have a few open. I know we discussed like some of my sold put position on SPX last week. This week, I spent most of my time selling. Well, on the brief chance that I got to selling calls out above gamma max, which is where the majority of my sold calls are. So I'm like now sold call heavy versus sold put heavy. And then my sold puts fall off by the end of this, well, right before the end of this week, alongside the little JPM collar roll. Yeah, unless you can close them out early and just capture the intraday or multi-day move. That's always an option. I mean, I, I generally assume when selling options that I'm going to, especially on SPX, outside of the zero DTA, I'm selling them assuming that I'm going to hold them till expiry. So yes, you can scalp them, but I mean, it's harder to scalp than long options at that point, and more slippage. Especially if you're trading spreads and you can't leg out of individual contracts in the spread because you don't have the margin to support the carry, and you can't stay naked on the index. So I'm fine with like scalping spreads on the zero DC. That's perfectly reasonable, but doing it on longer time frames is usually kind of shitty, and liquidity becomes a problem really fast. How will the baby color affect the index this time? I mean, it adds a little bit more sold call positioning to the upside, but the baby color is not very big. I mean, it's like it's enough to move things a bit, but it's like 5,000, 7,000 or like 5 to 7,000 contracts. I think the last time it was like 6,900 or something. Hold on, I have it here, I think. Boop, boop, boop. So, it was 8.6K contracts last time, and it's going to be rolling out to January. Earlier in the year, there was a point at which it hit about 12,000 contracts. So it's not tiny, but it's significantly smaller than the big quarterly roll. Any thoughts on QQQ for the week? Yeah, actually, um, tech's been pretty weak despite the gains in leverage, and gains on the dollar. And although tech did outperform the S&P on Friday, it may not continue to do so. Correlation largely is starting to break down. They kind of got it under control going into Friday, and then it broke down again. The range of those breakdowns in correlation is broadening, right, as volatility increases into earnings. But there's not enough long vol to drive a lot of bullish price action, right? And so, yeah, I mean, I would say that this kind of broadening pattern we're seeing here, as correlation breaks down, is not particularly bullish for tech. However, if earnings are good, because it is earnings season, or buybacks are very healthy, we could see all of this just reversed and correlation come back down really hard. It doesn't take long, right? I mean, the last big drop off in correlation was about mid October with OPEX. We pumped up to new all time highs, and it took roughly 2 days for them to push correlation back down. So it can happen really quickly. On longer term time frames, I mean, it's still kind of mid, right? Like if we pull back a lot, it's it's not particularly high, right? So we're not seeing huge breakdowns in anything, but we are seeing, smaller ones get larger and larger. And as that long vol pulls away from the underlying, that's going to incentivize short vol on the index. That's really what we're looking for. That's the bearish stuff. I think right now forward yield on vol ended the week at 2.26%, so positive, but below the Fed funds rate. So not drawing in a ton more long vol, but still, still a positive yield on volatility. How's the Gamma Strike site going? It's going pretty good. We've been working on getting live data hooked up, which is a nightmare. But it's step by step. We're getting the data and the data handling services that we need to implement put together, and testing them and trying to get rid of bugs and ensuring the calculations are correct. It takes a while. Longer than expected, but we're making progress on it. I mean, we've visually now we have live data, at least on the back end, and we're working on getting that. We're working on getting that pushed out to the beta users, hopefully pretty soon. There's a couple more features that we need to add to it before it goes live. But I think it's been going pretty great. Given how small our team is, I'm pretty impressed with the ground we've covered so far. It's fucking incredible. I've been insanely profitable since using GS. That's awesome, man. Seriously? That's pretty cool. Yep. If you have like a strat or something that you think you figured out, you can check out that Trade Ideas channel, because some of the other users are kind of posting things where that they've found some alpha with the data as well. Peter Wiener, JFresh can't make it to the stream today because he lost his voice from screaming at George Robertson. I know, I saw. Which is unfortunate because I wanted him to be here to talk about the new feature we're adding to GS this week. Or tonight? Are we adding it tonight? Don't you dare fucking me. I think it's getting pushed in right the fuck now. Oh god, push it into me, Dork. On prod? No? How am I supposed to tease people with it? Some of the tendencies of the stocks around the Greeks. Oh, okay. Yeah, I do that. I would say take notes. Options chain, every options chain is its own individual little market, right? So the behaviors of the participants and the market makers tend to be, especially at equity, is more unique. And the more you the more you dive into individual stocks like that, with that data, the more usually the better returns you can make, because you start to find the patterns in those behaviors, and the positioning strategies and stuff on equities are a lot easier to pick out than they are on something that's super liquid like Apple or SPX or SPY. What's better, Dork's blood sauce or GS feature? GS feature, despite what Dork's gonna say. We gotta yell at Nuke. I'm not gonna yell at Nuke. Nuke, you son of a bitch. Stop being so awesome. Is that what you want me to say to him? Did you time out Bob for the entirety of the members stream? Nice. If you end it in 30 minutes, yes. I mean, I might. So we have I think we should probably cover what data we're going to be dealing with this week. Monday's pretty light, but we have QRA starting, right? And everyone's going to be looking to see if Yellen continues yield curve control, especially now that rates are higher. It's even more important that Yellen step up and issue more bills to drive rates down. And this could be the opportunity for them to do that. So be wary of that, and remember it can be very bullish, um, depending on the market reaction to that. But something that's a little bit different this time around, and I do want to talk about this, and this goes back to kind of that thing I posted on Twitter a little over a month ago, where I was like, "Hey, what if?" Someone's shorting the short paper really hard to cover their cost to carry on the long end of the carry trade, right? And back when we had that August correction, there may be still a lot of positioning back then that is askew, and even though rates on the front end have risen, and their short on the front end has paid off, that does not necessarily mean that they can get out of that position with sufficient liquidity, right? And so I think the QRA has some potential to destabilize things and increase bond volatility. And if issuances are on the front end and there's a massive short on short-term treasuries, and Yellen doesn't move the issuance of the debt out, not only will we face more, concern from Moody's, S&P, Fitch, due to the fact that our current fiscal path is unsustainable, and we're moving into an election that will likely only make it more unsustainable over time. But those shorts are going to get squeezed. Is the trading strat channel Pigeonwell only? Yeah, it's in the beta. It's just for the beta testers for now. Obviously, I mean we'll have stuff later for everyone as we move towards launch. Isn't the play to short treasuries and bundle and sell the obligations off as CDOs? Sure, which is great until something in that market becomes over leveraged and blows up. Beta touchers? They call that lending? They do. You didn't miss much. You're only 30 minutes late. Bravo. How big will the bailout for GS JPM be this time? Who the fuck knows? And it's gonna have to be big enough to keep them from going under, right? Can't have them fail. God forbid. Imagine a vibrant, healthy market where the entirety of the risk in the market is packed into one or two companies, and they're just their poor decisions. After we just rolled through a shitload of regional banks last year, right? And made the market made the finance sector and banking sector even more consolidated than it was. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. That on balance sheet from like a month ago still intrigues me. I think we get another report out of them pretty soon, actually. And if their assets are continuing to rise, that's going to be very suspicious. The only bank I own is TD, which is down now due to a scandal. So great entries. I'm short a bunch of banks right now because I don't think they're going to make more money off net interest income at all. In fact, I think financial conditions are just going to tighten, and they're going to make less money than ever before because they're going to be unwilling to loan to anyone. Shit's fuck yo. You know what, Dork? I've heard a lot of economic analysis in my lifetime, and shit's fucked yo might be one of the stronger analyses I've ever heard. So, congratulations. You deserve a Nobel Prize. I sadly sold my JPM short Friday. I wanted to capture the profits. Fair. That's fine. I mean, the short-term return was pretty decent, so I understand. I'm kind of excited to see what happens to JPM stock price post QRA, post FOMC, where we don't cut rates. I'm gonna go grab Dork and bring him in here. We can wrap this shit up early today. What's up, nerd? Oh, you can't hear me. There you go.
What's up?
What's up, dude? Well,
How you doing?
I'm gonna bump this shit so people can hear you.
Oh, am I quiet?
Give me a penis.
Penis, testes, 1, 2, testes,
There we,
testes, 1, 2.
perfect.
Okay. How you doing?
Doing all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been trading. So like a few weeks ago, I got that like kidney infection slash possible poisoning, and
Yeah.
it really fucked up my sleep schedule because I was just not sleeping at all. Right, which is
I'm sure it's like waking you up randomly, just like the time to hurt.
yeah. I mean, well, for someone who only sleeps like 3 hours a day, any disruption to that is catastrophic. And so, because I was up in the middle of the night and in pain, I was like, oh, I'm going to trade oil because the leverage is insane and the moves are usually pretty decent overnight. And then I just started trading oil a lot. And
Okay.
it's absorbed my entire life for the last like 4 weeks. I'm trying to scale out of it now and like not have as much exposure, but just buying oil at $70 has been, well, it's been fantastic, Dork.
I can imagine. Don't let Dunstan hear your trading strategy, otherwise he's going to corner your market and screw you.
My trading strategy of buying oil every time it crosses to the upside of $70.
Dude, it's so advanced.
It's extraordinarily advanced.
You're
I
basically doing the Tootsie Roll dunk, but on oil.
yeah, I cannot recommend that strategy for beginners because it's the oil market and they'll lose everything.
Yeah, the moment you try to do it, whoever you is, it's just a colloquial you. The moment you try to do it, you'll lose everything.
Yep.
Gotta love it.
Why Gurk no tell us win by oil shill. Anyway, My Oxy Feb 60Cs are safe. Well, unless Israel accidentally um, peters a missile in anywhere within 1 mile of an oil facility in Iran. And if
Oh
that
yeah,
happens, oil gets to go to maybe like 80 quick.
yeah.
Yeah, the
I don't know why
geopolitical
oil is
risk
still
there
70
is
bucks.
extraordinarily elevated. Well, because there's a lot of geopolitical risk.
Well, were you saying that's why it's not at 60?
Yeah. Well, 55.
Damn.
Also,
Yeah.
also Saudi Arabia is still just holding on. They refuse. I mean, I think at this point, Saudi Arabia is just refusing to refill the SPR on the cheap, right?
Oh yeah, that's definitely it. They don't want to put any oil on the market because they know that the U.S. is just going to scoop it up.
Yeah.
So, and the U.S. is dragging its ass on refilling the SPR, which I mean,
But we're producing more oil than we ever have.
yeah, I know, right? It's funny how Biden campaigned on all this green shit, and then now he's just like, drill, baby, drill. Let's go.
He's been that way for 2 years now.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, it's crazy. It's funny how like quickly like the moment where you actually can get like a foothold for green energy for infrastructure, instead, you know what?
What?
Fucking drill a bunch of oil out of the ground. Let's go.
Imagine if you could just take other companies that are really green and package them up into tranches
Are you talking
and
about ESG?
and then big polluters could buy into those companies and sell themselves as green energy.
Dude, yeah, no, for sure. I put a piece of scotch tape on my window so I can improve my ESG score.
That's amazing.
That doesn't take much, dude.
You know what you should do? Just put sheets of Visqueen over your doors in the winter.
Mm.
Yeah,
I was thinking for
your
Gamma
green
Strike,
energy
we could
score is going to skyrocket.
I was thinking for Gamma Strike, we could make sure that we like slap Energy Star stickers on our servers.
Ooh,
It-
nice.
yeah, and then I mean, it doesn't really matter if they're Energy Star, I mean, like I see it all the time, all these Energy Star appliances, right, and all that stuff. They install them and then they just go, let's turn that feature off. So they do it with displays all the time too, like with displays that are all Energy Star compliant, all this crazy shit, and then they're just like, but we need to be able to control them after they turn off. So, and that's pretty much the only thing that Energy Star does is just turn it completely off, including the network ports and stuff. And so they just turn that shit right back off as soon as it goes in. But hey, it's green, right?
Yeah. I mean, I thought that was part of the service provided by Amazon. Don't we pay them like 25 cents a month for Energy Star stickers?
Yeah, I thought so, but
Sounds like a shitty cloud service. We should switch.
yeah, we okay, all right.
I know, I know.
I was just thinking we can get a few Raspberry Pis to host everything.
We probably could. But
Just like
then doing
two of them.
everything, we'd have to build all of the programmatic infrastructure from the ground up. Are you gonna tell Nuke?
Oh, I thought we were getting Nuke on just well, what I was thinking we could do for Nuke is have him program the entire front end onto some FPGAs,
Yeah.
and then we just build ICs, and then just turn it into this giant chip.
Gorkchin, did you finish the Q&A? Oh god, Greg, what's your Canadian question this week? Me and Dork will answer it. Lucky you.
No, poutine is not a suitable breakfast.
Yeah, that's correct. And Tim Hortons is disgusting.
We just fired so many shots at these Canadians.
Someone has to.
Oh yeah.
Otherwise, why do they have an army?
After all the smack talk I got for my gravy, Let me tell you.
You're ready to come back.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I'm clapping back super hard. All right, guns ablazing. Yeah, give us your fucking question, dude. We're sitting here with bated breath.
Yeah, this is like he's made so many comments and none of them are a question.
Yeah.
I don't care if you worked at Tim Hortons.
Hasn't every Canadian worked at Tim Hortons at one point in their life?
I feel like, yeah, don't they just give you a job there like your second year of high school? Yes, you do. You do care. Please ask the fucking question, you son of a bitch. Dork's gonna time you out soon.
Exactly. I was about to say, I'm literally going to time him out for the next hour if he doesn't ask a fucking question. Because otherwise, he's going to sit here dragging us along and making this stream last forever. All right, you got 10 seconds. Type faster.
Canada had a chicken Big Macs before the USA, though. Basically, a futures contract.
Oh,
It's
your question
there.
was, did you finish the Q&A? God damn it, I'm timing you out.
Yep.
Get fucked.
300 seconds seems perfectly reasonable.
I figure it's a good cooldown period. Maybe he just needs to articulate a better question.
Yeah, maybe.
He is Canadian after all, so.
It's tough for them. It's cold, right? It slows down their brain function.
Yeah, and all the poutine, really kind of their metabolism is just like it's like trying to jam up like silly putty through through like a tiny little hole.
You talking about their pancreas?
Yes.
Oh, nice. All right, Dork,
Okay.
I got a question, and yes, you'll time me out.
All right, what's your question? Oh, get fucked.
You just timed him out before he got to ask it. Oh wait, hold on. I can start a Q&A in the chat.
Oh wait. Oh,
This
yeah.
is
Bob's got a question here. Yeah, Bob, go ahead, ask away.
Dork, stop timing out everybody with questions. I mean, it's amazing actually, but still. We've only got like 4 people left watching us do this on the weekend.
4 people and 100 something bots. I love it.
All right.
Let's actually talk about something that has to do with maybe making some money at some point this week.
Are you going through the Meatball and picking a random stock?
I don't think Meatball has. Oh, I got bad gateway. Wow, look at me. I got fucked.
Oh wow, Nick shut you out.
He killed me. I'm gonna tag him.
Afraid to ask now? See what you've done?
Wait, hold on. Give me 1 second because I gotta yell at Nick, and then I'll be open for questions. Let me just go like this and go like this and go. Boom. All right. So hold on. Who is it that's got the question here? Trash Panda. Yeah, I got you, Trash. Yeah, here you go.
Well, that was
all
nice.
right, Jim. What's your question?
God damn it! You can't time him out. Right, you son of a bitch.
It's too much fun. It was only 10 seconds for him. All right, it was fine. Oh, you want a time lapse of the meatball moving up and down the curve to see what it looks like intraday? That's pretty resource intensive. I mean, we might be able to pull something like that off at some point, but like that's
isn't that literally what live data is?
Pretty much. I mean,
Yeah.
you just kind of see it already. But something like that intricate, right? It's that's a bit of a bear. But we're trying to do cool stuff like that. It's just we're trying to figure out,
I don't
like
want to
how
listen
much.
to your pessimism and negativity right now, Dork. This isn't a team meeting.
Whoa. I say nice job when people do stuff, and then I talk about how it's fucked.
Are any of the Mag 7 getting primed similar to Tesla, where underwater calls are present, but underwater prior to earnings? Nvidia a little bit has kind of a stacked chain. Apple a little bit. Amazon not so much. AVGO a little. Microsoft. So I'm actually long Microsoft, but I should probably double check that position.
Okay, Girk, I have a question.
What's up?
Is JNK gonna go under 96 like this century?
Probably.
Like it tried so hard and it did not go down. Like
But
it just hit this shitty
you
little
know,
bounce.
like banks have to fail, right, for you to get your wish.
Well, to go under 96, it's right fucking there.
It seems close, but it's miles away.
I guess so. That's disgusting.
I mean, you're talking about like a major shift in the bond market that would have fairly disastrous consequences.
What, you mean like my puts printing, which is always disastrous for the market?
Yeah, I mean, imagine being Kenny and having to pay you money.
Dude, like that's the thing. Like sometimes like I'll have a put that's like perfect and the market just does not hit it. And then like right after market close, the market just fucking tanks. I'm like, yeah, the cost of not printing my put was everything. Get fucked.
Maybe you and just like 8,000 other people think you have the perfect put. And it's not just your contract, it's all of them in aggregate.
Oh, right, yeah. There's like 10,000 other degens just like me who have like one put they bought for $30 and they're like, come on. Yeah. Oh, it's fun. I like when I make like about like $120 in the market in the day, and I'm like, yeah, I'll go ahead and buy a degen with the house money.
Poopy Pants is talking shit about your love position.
You know, poopy pants, I got out green, so get fucked.
Oh, shit. New government in Queensland might be good for BTU. Ooh, exciting. Yeah, it'd be nice if their Australian operation started to pump out some better revenues.
You know, poopy, here's the thing. I made money off a $20 put on Carvana. Okay. I
Well,
can I can I can juice a turnip anywhere.
it's true.
Yeah, Girk's seen me do it.
I have you seen you scalp the point oh 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 one move in gamma before.
Dude, those $30 out of the money calls and puts, let me tell you, they're pretty tasty sometimes. All right, Bob. Let's go ahead and just do this.
Pops. You just get rid of him for the day.
I got rid of him for the day and
Part of
like half of
tomorrow.
tomorrow too.
Yeah.
About half of tomorrow. Oh, Bob. He's such a glutton for punishment. That's the weirdest part. It's like he just wants to be timed out all day. No, what are you doing? No, don't usurp my authority on Bob.
It's the only place where your authority is complete. All right. All right.
Give me this one thing. All right, fine. You know what? I'll be nice, and I'm just gonna do 30 minutes,
All right.
and
That
then that
seems
way we
fair.
can get through the stream, and then tomorrow he can make fun of my sauce some more, and then I'll time him out for 24 hours again.
I love watching Poopy Pants comment macroeconomic stuff.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Poopy's interesting.
It helps me know what to inverse.
I mean, yeah, he's kind of like if Don Duck could make a coherent argument.
Oh, interesting. You mean instead of just saying the thing I said back to me?
Right, or referencing, money flows and, you know, people buy and sell and saying things like that, and then then that makes the market go, which is basically what Walken did.
No, you don't. That's hurtful.
Look, Poopy, I think you have a decent fucking view on it. It's just I think we disagree on some stuff, but
At
I
least
digress.
I've never seen Poopy use the phrase money plays.
Right, money on the table, that kind of shit.
Yeah.
I like his insight into insurance. That's for sure. He's got a good ear to the ground on that.
He does. Yeah, if I ever need to trade annuities and I just completely fail at the stock market, I know who to talk to.
All right, let me just start trading these annuities and put this gun in my mouth and pull the trigger, and we're good. All right, Greg, I got you, bud. Uh, yeah, markets. There's data next week, isn't there?
Yeah, yeah. I was actually going to dive into that a little bit. Not
Yeah, we got
much,
like a
not
bunch of
much
shit.
Monday, but Tuesday we start to hit things pretty hard. Actually, you know what? Monday could be interesting because we have a 2, a 6, a 3, and a 5 year auction, and the QRA.
Yeah, yeah, and like we're pretty close to the next Fed meeting, aren't we? Like a couple weeks
Yeah,
away or something.
yeah. How much more yield curve control can Yellen do with the dollar at all time highs?
That's a great question, Girk. And you know what I'm wondering too is how much can the Fed steepen the yield curve as well?
I can tell you what they could do at this meeting, but it's going to be a gamble. Nothing. I
How
know, I know.
controversial. That's
It's
actually
a
controversial.
it actually, but now it actually is, right?
Yeah, no, that'd be the most hawkish thing they could do.
Yep. What's up,
Just do
Poopy?
nothing.
One of these days, the 20 year is going to be 10%.
One of these days.
25 BPS cut is the same as nothing. Stop. I like talking about the top end of the yield curve exceeding 8% and making Poopy worry about the equity in his Midwest home that nobody ever wanted to live in before him.
Ouch! Shots fired across the broadside.
He said Dork's reign of terror.
You asked me to time you out, and you know what? This time you didn't, but this one's free.
Have no worries.
You,
My home equity, lower my taxes. Yeah, 5 years after your equity creators, the tax assessor will come out and drop like 10K off the price.
no, I think that Mr. Poopy Pants is more worried about being able to sell insurance tranches.
Tranche.
Tranche.
Don't call it a tranche. Not in my presence. You know how many annuities I could sell at 12% returns? All of them. All the ones you're given, I hope. I mean, that's your job. Oh,
Right,
wait,
right.
not
Spend some of those.
anymore. Poopy's moving over to JPM. Which, I mean, speaking of which, time for puts.
You might be right.
There's so many BBB insurance companies on the brink of collapsing. Yeah, well, that's their fault for insuring Florida.
Yeah, or insuring people.
Yeah, people, Florida, vehicles that are massively overpriced. You know, I'd love to get some insight into the. I wish I could find somebody with a lot of insight into the like subprime auto insurance market. How
Oh,
does
dude, stuff
one
is
how does
huge.
one insure a $3,000 Honda Civic for 12K?
That is a very good question, Girk. Yeah, that's I don't understand it, but I wish I could. I wish I had access to that kind of data.
I mean, my assumption would be you simply don't pay out in the event of total loss, right? But
You pay out like
then,
40%.
yeah, but then, I mean, like the gap insurance is only going to cover so much, and someone's getting fucked on the gap. Who's getting fucked, and where do we short them?
Hmm.
Hmm. It's got to be someone. It's clearly not Carvana, right? They're the best company in the world.
Well, yeah, I mean, everybody gets their fucking loans underwritten, so I would imagine just like shitty regional banks
Okay, interesting.
or AIG, according to Poopy. Which, okay, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's usually most things are AIG's fault.
it's true.
What if AIG were to somehow decide that they weren't big enough anymore to take on all of the risk they were creating, and they formed partnerships with people in order to
Mm.
spread that risk out, possibly even consolidate that risk into one corporation alongside other partners?
Oh wow, Corebridge is still at 3150. Wow,
Thanks,
their dividends
Pepe.
have sucked lately.
Yeah, the dividends have sucked, but who cares, man? You have like 200% returns on it.
I know, right? Yeah, I'm just like gonna sit on it. If it goes below like 2750, I'll probably sell it. But other than that, I'm just like whatever. Who gives a shit?
Well, it's either gonna, and because I didn't do sufficient diligence, it's either gonna go to zero or it's never gonna go below 2750 again.
Yeah, yeah, that's kind of what I think about it too. I'm like, its book value is pretty fucking good. Their PE is fucking gnarly too. So, it's pretty good. It's been nice to us.
What's up, FTW13? He called us cool cats. I like that guy.
Wow, wow, that's very nice of you. I am a cool cat.
Huh. Subprime auto lending. I spent like last week reading up a lot on Carvana, and because it appears on the surface to be an entirely criminal enterprise, there's a lot of shit to dig through.
You know,
Um,
Girk, I made a post back in like I want to say it was like November 2021 or like early 2022 about the auto industry and how it's a huge risk to the financial market.
yeah, yeah, I know you were on this. I don't think it's as big a risk as you said back then, which I told you back then.
Yeah,
Um,
you did.
but it's still a risk, right? When everything else is wildly unstable, little things like that can become outsized catalysts, right?
Yeah, that's kind of what my thought was. Like, I mean, if push really comes to shove, people would rather sell their cars and take the bus and sell their home.
Yeah, yeah,
Or at least you would think, right? But they may sell their home, keep their car so they could drive to their job.
true. I think that just depends on distance, like, or their like commute time, right?
Well, everyone's got like an hour commute. You know that.
Yeah, the average.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. It's because people place their
Can you tell me
offices
what to
in
buy
financial
and sell
centers.
CCs on that doesn't have a share price? I mean, yes, I could. Why is that desirable, though? You know, GoEV has extraordinarily outsized yields because the probability of them going bankrupt is extremely high.
I sold a couple puts on GoEV at I think it was at a
A dollar?
buck 50. No, it was
Okay.
at a buck 50. I got assigned on them, and then I sold the shares, and I still ended up making like 35 bucks on the whole trade.
Nice. Yeah,
Their,
so that's a
their
decent.
yields are stupid, dude.
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
they
that's a good one.
I think they still are too. I haven't looked for a little while because people have ruined GoEV for me
Yeah,
by just talking about it all the time. Um but yeah, I mean the $1 put 19 days to expiry is yielding 21%.
their PE is so funny. Negative 0.12 trailing 12 months.
Yeah.
It's because their share price is approaching zero.
Yeah.
And so the P is going to zero. It doesn't really matter what the E is.
Well, the shorts are getting them in a position where they need to do something or they're going to get delisted. So,
Oh yeah, and like it's funny. Like the shorts are actually making it even harder for them to actually get access to capital.
yeah.
It's funny how that works, and that's one of the reasons why I kind of dislike the stock market is that there's kind of this ability to create a self fulfilling prophecy about a company with too small of a market cap to do anything about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, GoEV could now hear me out. GoEV could take that money they get, right? And they could, instead of spending it on fancy dinners at um, Native American casinos and private jets, they could take that money and use it to build or purchase infrastructure that allowed them to manufacture vehicles as per their mission statement.
You know,
um,
Girk, I've
and
never heard such
squeeze,
communist stuff in my life.
I know, and squeeze all of the shorts off of their stock.
Girk, what's next, huh? Are you going to say that and their employees are going to seize the means of production? Is that the next step?
I mean, Boston Consulting Group might.
Or McKinsey?
Yeah.
No, those guys are way too busy fucking shoehorning AI into every single crevice and orifice possible.
Like cream cheese, like AI cream cheese.
Oh yeah, I did. I ever tell you my low
Spreading it
risk
across
conspiracy
the
theory?
private equity. What?
I
Bagel.
have a low risk conspiracy theory on cream cheese.
Yeah? What is it?
Big cream cheese and big bagel
Uh,
spend hundreds of millions of dollars a year researching how much cream cheese goes on the bagel so that
and
they can always make sure to sell the right amount of cream cheese and the right amount of bagel to never have them run out at the same time. So you're stuck in a cycle of buying either cream cheese or bagels.
dude, it's two cream cheese to every six bagels.
What are those units of cream cheese?
8 ounces, which is the standard size for a brick of cream cheese for the last like 100 years.
But you see, the thing is you're not taking into account the surface area of the bagel like they are.
You're saying they're making the bagels bigger so you run out of cream cheese sooner?
No, they're just adjusting the surface area of the bagel, or I guess
So
the volume of the bagel, which becomes a surface area when you slice it in half, such that because consumer habits change, they use more or they use less cream cheese, and they
this
keep track of
sounds
that.
this sounds anti-Semitic.
What? I didn't know bagels were still a Jewish thing.
Dork, you're just like one step away from the Goldman Jewish conspiracy.
So much for low risk, huh?
Yeah.
This conspiracy runs all the way to the top. Yeah, I know. Yeah, but GoEV. Back to what we were talking about. GoEV is a shitty company with a lot of high vol. You could scrape some shit off it, but be ready for news at any point that just drops the stock to like 50 cents.
Carvana's pretty fun to short the tails on. Both tails.
Yeah, Carvana's pretty good, and it's because their price action makes literally 0 cents, and so the market makers are just pricing a ton of risk into both ends.
Well, the market makers like pick up that risk and dump it really fast for no reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're trying to
So,
entice everybody to
so I was
actually
like
like.
selling like $20 away from spot spreads, and they were going to like 100% after like a few candles. Like the market maker is just like, oh, okay, we don't have to worry about that contract anymore. It's fine.
uh, yeah, Carvana is such a piece of shit, dude. I don't get it. Their PE's at like 64. Their forecast PE's at 377.
Yep.
What the fuck? Let me actually look at their. I haven't looked at their financials in a while. Let me see what's going on with these guys. Cash flow. What do we got? Investing activities, 31 million. Depreciation, 352 million. Wow. So their change in working capital down a bit year over year.
I thought it was illegal for a company to take any move intended to directly target a short position. What? No.
Wait, okay. So Carvana's net income is $48 million and they're being priced at $42 billion.
Mm-hmm.
Wait. Wait a minute. Okay, so current total assets 3.48 billion. Okay. Cash and equivalents 540 million. Okay.
Wait, look at debt.
Yeah, I
Look
was
at
getting
the
there. I
look.
was getting
Yeah,
there.
look at the debt to asset ratio.
Accumulated depreciation 911 million. Nice. Current liabilities 1.12 billion. Nice. Uh Man, this is their total non-current liabilities 6 billion. Okay, yeah, dude, this thing's such a big pile of poopy. Why
Yep.
is it worth so
Well,
much?
because they're using payment in kind to artificially boost cash flows
What the fuck?
on their 2025, 28, and 30 tranches, which are like billions of dollars of debt.
Yeah, dude, their long-term debt 5.43 billion, dude. What the fuck?
Yeah.
That's so they have more long-term debt than they
They have
have current
assets
assets.
or
Yeah.
future cash flows.
So you've got like $2 billion of losses just sitting here if this thing goes bankrupt. Because you could not liquidate, you could liquidate the entire company, every stapler, and this company could not, like, no debtor could be recouped fully, or just a few lucky ones, and then some other people are going to be hung out to dry. But the stock price is going to go straight to zero. Shareholders are getting absolutely nothing. Why would you own shares of this company, dude?
Ooh, I know, because you have warrants, unrealized
Hmm.
warrants,
Let's see.
and you need to keep buying it until you can exercise your right to those warrants.
What the fuck, dude?
And then you'd sell everything.
Uh,
Uh, I told you it's just a Ponzi.
Dude, why is this a 50 or a $42 billion company? This makes no fucking sense. They were what, like $20, like less than a year ago?
They were like $5 less than a year ago.
They should still be $5.
They should be 3.
I mean, yeah, but you know what, Girk?
I can't wait for the
I'm
next
always
like
a nice guy.
used car report to come out, and auto prices have dropped another 8% or 10%, and they lose another $300 million in the value of their inventory. And then the price of the stock goes up another $50.
Fuck you, Girk. You're right, and it sucks.
You ready for CL to gap down? I mean, I guess. Can I buy it again at 70? I actually have out of the money puts on CL as well. Yeah, so I have out of the money puts in case I get like blown, like I'm just carrying them in case I get blown out on one of my buy-ins at 70. And since those are sitting there and I'm not long right now, if CL would open at 60, that'd be fantastic.
There's actually some decent puts. There's like the $60 put for June 2025. What's July?
For
Oh,
what?
they don't have July contracts. Oh, for Carvana. September puts pretty good.
Jan 2026 $50 puts.
$50. I mean, I was thinking like $30.
How about 5?
They only go down to 15, unfortunately.
Oh no.
I mean, there's 2000 OI at 15, so it's pretty liquid actually.
That's just popcorn.
I mean, they're 35 cents a pop. Like, it can't really go down much more. It's basically you're just buying theta and a shit ton of fucking Vana.
Imagine those options going to like $15, $16.
$16 for a $15 put. That would be the day.
You just need a
I
big. I
actually do
mean,
like the
for
30s.
2026, if it dumps in mid 2025 when the PIK falls off, that actually doesn't seem unreasonable.
No,
Like, I
yeah, it
mean,
really
because you'll have
doesn't.
another year of theta on it, so I mean, it can exceed intrinsic value.
That'll be wild. I kind of like the 30s. They're actually They're only at 95% IV.
Yeah, it's not bad.
I mean, if I was the market maker, I'd be pricing these way higher. I'd be pricing the $30 put at like $20.
You assume the market maker is doing research into the company outside of its options chain?
At its stock price and volatility. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, in any case, yeah, I'll probably get a couple of these if I have another good day in the market.
Ooh, they got Jan 27s open now.
They do, but they don't go down that low.
85.
Yeah, they're like $1.5 grand.
It's not bad.
Girk, you underestimate how poor I am.
I do. I do.
For
You
what?
know
An
how
extra?
you know how I know? Because you balked at the $50 put.
What for Jan 26?
Yeah, which is only like what, $2?
Yeah, it's okay, but I don't like it's $2.65 actually,
Yeah.
right? For what, 20 more dollars of potential extrinsic or intrinsic value if this thing goes straight to zero, which is kind of what I think is going to happen.
Yeah, 200 to 5,000 is a terrible. You're right. That's a shit return.
I mean, like because the $30 put right now has potential to what 30x if it goes straight to zero,
Yeah.
right? The 50 actually the 50 will only 20x.
Yeah.
Although the 15s, a lot of X on the 15s.
True. True.
I could really lever into those too. I might buy a few of them. Last time I did the $20 put move, I made some money on it. So, it's not like it's terrible.
They
Doing
price
the
up. They price up pretty quick.
well, because everybody knows that they could go to zero
Yeah.
at any slight notion of car prices going down.
I
Oh
love how
God.
I love how everything's just counterintuitive. Like inflation on used cars is going to tank, right? But used car prices are going to remain elevated.
Right. Yeah, no, full on fucking still living in the 2021 days. It's
It sounds like
disgusting when you really think about it.
you all talking about Nvidia 2 years ago. I'm buying calls at open. Carvana to 1,000. Oh, I'm bullish on Carvana short term. Until their payment in kind rolls off, they're going to continue to leverage their cash flows until they're able to issue shares and pay down debt. It's when they issue the shares to pay down the debt that's when you got to look out. But until then, I mean, there's nothing that's gonna stop its upward trajectory short of like a market crash, because
Dude,
it would be just too risky to carry at that point.
at the money IV on Carvana is at like 85%. That's so fucking crazy.
Yeah,
For the November contract, that's nuts. Dude,
I mean
this thing is such a scam.
their cash flows this quarter are gonna be awesome,
Yeah.
and that brings me to Root, where they route a significant portion of their losses per car sale. So if they're selling cars for cheaper and moving more volume, one of the prime beneficiaries of that is Root. And so right now, everybody's going like, I think everyone's just doing like short Root, long Carvana. But I think when Carvana issues the share offering, they're gonna flip that.
Mm.
Right. So Carvana's gotta offer, like 10 billion in equity at some point and to clear up the debt, right? And they can, because the company is now worth, what is it, 43 billion? So $43 billion more than it should be worth.
42 billion, Girk. And
Whatever.
yes, $43 billion more than it's worth.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, technically $47 billion more than it's worth. JPM has a target for Root at 90. Yeah, I bet they do.
Oh man, makes sense.
They both have earnings
Honestly,
coming up.
what are the root July's going for? Jesus Christ, their IV is skyrocketed too. There is no I mean, you could do it with short vol, I guess.
What? Like
Oh,
so?
just like sell puts on root, sell calls on Carvana.
Mm, yeah, you
Just
could.
spreads.
Yeah.
The spreads make way more sense on
They
these
both
than
have
short vol.
earnings. They both have like earnings coming up. So that's part of the reason they're overpriced.
Yeah. What's Roots P? Uh, unusual. Nice.
Yep. It's okay. They only lose $5 a share per year.
Oh, fuck this market, Kirk. Why is it so dumb?
Dude, poor Benjamin Graham just rolling over in his grave.
Dude, this is like absolute inanity. It's
Yeah.
just some of the companies you can look at, and it's just like pure foaming at the mouth, rabidity at these companies. Like just where people have completely lost their minds.
Any thoughts on MSTR? Oh yeah, I forgot. MSTR was a zero DTE call that paid out really hard, and now everyone's gonna track it forever because they think it'll make them the same money a second time. I love the pickle jar.
They're the best.
It's just like a collection of dead stocks, like the Island of Lost Toys.
Dude.
Like everyone's just hoarding stocks that once upon a time made them money. Beanhead's going to the moon. I haven't owned Beanhead since it squeezed.
Me, dude. Yeah, no, it's true. Like the stock, I mean, and the thing is that it's with stocks with like really mediocre fundamentals too that they do this with.
MSTR has call interest all the way out to 50, like a decent amount of it. However, the downside support is trimming back really fast. Really fast. Yeah,
What's
almost
Bitcoin doing?
lost a huge amount of support on Friday.
See what the old
I don't
BTC
know.
is
It's
doing.
probably I don't pay attention to it because it's fake, right?
Where's my
Um,
Crapto
it
page
looks
on?
like it's in the process of failing a bullish breakout.
Oh, nice. Look at that.
Yeah. So classic Wyckoff distribution.
The dork, it's
I
Bitcoin.
wonder if Bitcoin just only moves in Wyckoff cycles because the value of it is entirely driven by speculation. That'd be crazy.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Well,
Okay,
oh,
let's
I'm
calm
sorry.
down here, Gerg. It's a new dollar.
Who's
Uh, yes.
exactly?
Jeez. Look at that chart.
What a stupid piece of shit.
We talking about Bitcoin in here?
Ah, it's the cat. What's up, man?
I've been listening this whole time. I just can't talk.
You sneaky son of a bitch.
But Bitcoin is the only currency that is accepted nowhere.
That's not true. I can use it to pay for prostitutes on Craigslist.
Hmm. Interesting.
Yeah, I can buy drugs
Yep.
with Bitcoin.
Yep. Drugs and prostitutes. Criminals will accept it.
Yeah.
What do you
I'm
mean when
looking.
you say at some point made the money? I just watched everybody else make money and then chased. That's the same story everyone has, Greg.
Yeah.
Greg from Canada. Can you change your name to Canadian Greg on YouTube so we know?
Is he 5 share, Greg?
He is.
Okay. Well, does he still have his 5 shares of GME?
I don't
It
know.
would be actually that was 5 shares before the split.
Yeah, he's
So he
he's actually
has 20 shares.
he's 20
No,
share
he
Greg
sold.
now.
He sold in the sneeze, and so he's back to 5 share Greg.
We need an update on that. How many shares you got?
Yeah, it's true. You know what? I might buy a share of GameStop just for the fun of it, just for the memories.
The IV's really low, but here's the new thing: it's probably going to stay that way.
Yeah.
Oh, guys, also, I'm currently talking to a fake Girk. I'll let you know how that goes.
Oh
I'm catfishing
yes,
him right now.
I've heard the fakers are big sluts.
I was
Yeah.
just told just now trading can be very complex but rewarding. Have you tried out my ASS or AAS strategy for scalping over 80% ROI using AI bot developed signals and market orders yet?
This is amazing. I can't believe you got. Wait. Oh, because you're not a moderator, so they send you. I've never gotten a fake Girk. I think
Well,
maybe I
you're
don't
Girk.
love
They'll know
myself.
you'll know.
Yeah.
Yeah, if Gurk got a fake Gurk, that would be like peak irony.
That's when we know the market's topped.
That's true.
Guys, remember again, I don't want to be your friend, and I would never DM you about trading. When I DM people, it's memes. Mostly memes.
Yeah, this is how you know it's not him. I hope you are making successful trades. He doesn't care. Doesn't care.
Yeah.
Use the information or not.
Wait, how could you be making successful trades if you haven't purchased their AAIS Assbot? So you're already wait, hold on. Fake Gurks are pitching their trading algorithm to people who are already successful at trading?
No, well, he asked me if I was successful or if I was having any setbacks, and I told him I was having some setbacks.
Oh, okay.
What were your setbacks, Jay Fresh? You should have elaborated on those a bit.
He didn't ask. I just said I'm having a few. This conversation is moving at the speed of watching ice melt. Like I'll say something, and then 30 minutes later he'll say something.
Did you ask him why you lost so much money on the golden biscuits?
Ooh, I can. Yeah, everybody just make a list. I'll get it all out there. We'll learn what we need to know from real Kirkin. Not this fake Kirkin that goes on YouTube.
I'm glad Jay Fresh showed up. I wish he was using the voice thing though.
I'm trying, man. I just
It's
I
all
was having
right.
fun this morning arguing with well, I don't know. It's a little arguing and a little trolling because he's so against the idea with George Robertson about I'm asserting that there's no such thing as risk free. It doesn't exist.
Mm.
And he really does. It really bothers him.
Yeah, well, he's fixed income.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's fixed income, and he's also one of the most stubborn individuals walking this earth.
Yes. He's
I think
also,
that's
like all fixed income people, crazy as fuck.
Yeah, he's got
well,
a few screws loose.
I think I boiled it down. The primary reason that him and what's his face, Damp Spring will never see eye to eye is that, right? Because if there is no risk-free rate, then supply matters. If there is a risk-free rate, then supply doesn't matter.
Mm.
But this idea of a risk-free rate then also like leads to insane other things like infinite liquidity in all markets.
I'm gonna come.
I don't do that. So so like for example, market makers will provide you a price for an option regardless of the volume at which you want to buy or sell it at, with no
It was at
slippage.
this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
And he lost me there because I've seen slippage occur all the time.
I've gotten slippage on like fucking the dumbest shit sometimes. Like when I'm trying to sell like 10 super far out of the money calls, like I just do a market sell and I just see the price like drop like by 30% all the way down, and I'm like, dude,
Why'd you do a market sell?
because I was lazy.
That's how you get blown up, man.
I
You
think
have
I
to be
gotta agree. I
properly
don't know.
compensated for your risk.
He's just gooning.
Well, the problem is, yeah, like the problem is that if I try to limit sell at a given price, much like you said, there's not perfect liquidity, so I'll sell like a third of the contracts and then just be sitting there with a limit selling my thumb up my ass.
Well, wait more than 5 minutes.
Jay Fresh, you know how many times I've had contracts sitting on a limit sell all day?
You know what, Jay Fresh? I'm gonna walk you through Dork's intraday trade process. First, he opens the options chain, and then he looks at the options and he goes, "Is this skibidi?" after he determines the skibidiness of the option, he decides whether or not he wants to goon or edge himself for the next 2 hours. And then if he makes a profit, he ups his Sigma Riz.
That's that's the thing is if the price
shit.
action doesn't have enough Riz, I can't get my skibidi.
So he's actually
It's not
skibidi
skibbity,
maxing.
it's skibbity.
Whatever.
You're placing the emphasis on the wrong syllable.
Yes, Girk, you actually did pretty much describe my. I sometimes I see a setup for like on a technical signal. I'm just like, I'm gonna buy a far out of the money option here, and it's probably gonna go up a little bit.
I assumed his trading strategy was, well, I'm sitting here on the toilet, I should sell an option. And then
Trading
he says,
options on the toilet
well,
is a pain in the ass.
well, I have to wipe. And then he says, well, I have to wipe my ass, so I guess I'm gonna have to just lower my limit so I can finish.
He has to tighten his stop because he has to grab the toilet paper.
Like, I can't sit here all day. I gotta sell these contracts and get on with my day.
Selling green contracts is tough for me. Like when a contract's going up, I'll move my stop up, and like a dollar wide stop is really wide at first, and then like I keep it a dollar wide, and then I'm like, this stop is actually getting really narrow now. And then it gets hit, and then I sell, and I'm like, whatever.
Wait, can we, now that you're here, Jay Fresh, can we tease the meatball?
No, because Dork hasn't refilled it yet.
Whoa! I certainly have.
Well, why isn't it popping up? Ugh, why isn't it popping up?
I have no idea.
I'm looking at non-production and it's empty.
Well,
No,
it's not in
dev.
non-production; it's in dev.
Oh.
But it's still empty.
Well, it's got to be in the dev DB.
So
If I was unsuccessful, my shit would have broken.
So
I'm
should,
gonna- you
who
want
wants
me
to
to go
yell at
check
Atomic?
live?
Yeah, just go hit up the actual DB.
well, that doesn't help.
Well, no, it
I'm
doesn't
about
help,
to do
but I mean, it helps to know that they exist. Right?
I love that we
probably-
have a brand new hot product that's super cool, and here I am ready to shill it to people.
Look,
and I've just got nothing.
look, Gert. Let me tell you something.
The goon lives on.
God
Exactly.
damn it.
That's exactly right.
I'm over here stroking my dick. I got lotion on my dick right now. I'm just stroking.
Okay,
guys.
J-Fresh is wildly against the soundboard today for some reason.
it just seems very not professional. We have to start cleaning up our act a little bit.
Oh, I know, but isn't that for the podcast?
Yeah, I guess. As long as this is behind a paywall, I guess it's fine.
Yeah, exactly, Jay Fresh. So
There's also just nobody watching it. So
yeah.
You can
Oh.
show my ball.
we got like 150 people in here. It's the same 150 people from last week.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
We got him.
Also, we're getting ready for the podcast because we'll have a soundboard. I'm getting ready to make custom sounds for Dork's Dunks using Sono.
Dorks
Oh,
Dunks.
yes.
It's just going to be
Dude.
the opening intro to the song "Oh Dork."
Oh, perfect.
Yep.
So we're gonna have Dorks Dunks. We're gonna have Girks Gains. And I don't know.
Yeah, what's
Russia's fiery dumpster of hell.
would you
Cash
stop
craps.
getting sick and dying on us?
I tried not to, I promise. I
Can
sound a lot worse than I am. I actually feel okay. I
fine.
just, yeah.
Were
So I'm
you,
not dying.
were you just like yelling at children or students?
No.
Oh, was this from
I
the
do have a
Ren?
little
Wait,
bit
hold
of a
on. Was this from the Ren Fair?
No, I think it was from my daughter's fall festival at her school.
Oh,
I walked into a essentially a middle school and was there for like 2 hours with 1,000 other middle schoolers.
Jesus Christ.
I'm assuming that I received this from there.
Yeah, I mean that's like the same as like a Cantonese open air meat market.
It was a free gift given to every participant.
Why don't you just go in the bathroom at the school that you work at and like lick the toilet bowl?
Because I don't want to think about that. Why would I do that?
You should wear a full face respirator when going out in public. I think I'm gonna start doing that.
You know, they try to have us when they put us back in person teaching. They try to tell us that we still had to wear face masks while we were teaching.
Aren't
So
you
you can
like
imagine,
40
like,
feet away from the students?
yeah,
Oh,
it was
okay.
stupid. They also were like, well, you can not wear your face mask if you have like this plexiglass panel on wheels that we made for you
That's
in
nice.
front of you. So it was like a one-sided Pope mobile.
Yeah, it's like Trump's little bulletproof screen.
Yeah, it was all just very strange. I gave it my best shot at trying to do it, and after a while, I was just like, "Fuck it." I'm
You
just gonna
you know what you should have
Wear
done is you
glasses?
should have created your own personal plexiglass screen that attached to like some sort of belt holster, and then everywhere you went, plexiglass screen.
Yeah, so I tried to do something like that, but it was glasses instead. So it was
Okay,
like I bought this thing where it was like glasses that you could just shove. Basically, it came with like 10 pieces of like thin plastic that you could shove into it. So it made like a full screen mask, but it didn't work because of my beard. I couldn't get the microphone in. That was the big challenge. Is like you have to talk into a microphone because these people are so fucking far away from you. Which
I wanna get one of those
it made
like
no sense.
you know those respirators with like the tube that comes out of the back of your head and goes into like the backpack filter, like they use at the CDC.
Yeah,
I
where
want
you're
to get
like
one of
running off
those.
your own private supply.
Yeah, I want to get one of those where it's, but like just wear it to Costco when I go there.
All right, all right.
I think if I do that, I can eliminate getting sick like 5 times a year.
Mm,
They're not cheap, but I think it's worth it.
interesting.
You won this week, by the way.
I did
You did.
because
Fuck.
you guys are so bearish.
No.
Did I say like
You were more
59.10?
bearish. You were more bearish than me.
I thought I changed it to 59.10.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Remember,
I forgot.
I was like, ah, fuck it, we're gonna hit 5,900. It's got to happen, right?
Oh.
59.10.
Oh, then I didn't listen to you. I still have your projection at 5,800 for the week.
Well, who won if I didn't?
Me.
Yeah,
I'll
give it to you. I mean, it's on record. You can go back and hear me say it. It's undeniable.
All right. I missed that. If my projection was not as bullish or bearish, I would have been like spot on.
So what you're saying is that if you had a different projection that was closer to what actually happened, you would have been spot on.
Yeah. Well,
I see.
I had the idea that we would like dip and spike, but I was just a little bit off the low and the high.
Yeah, I was envisioning the 59.10 being like just a crazy volatility swing. But yeah, we seem to be roughly out of gas, and this week is going to be a really fun week. I'm super excited for this week.
It looks like
Everybody
it's
has earnings.
yeah, it looks like it could be really bad.
It's like everybody except for Nvidia has earnings.
Well, that's so they can keep the
Everybody does.
market above delta neutral for the next 2 months.
I don't think the earnings are going to be great.
Nvidia?
Well, it doesn't matter. They're just going to push Nvidia up to like $300 a share, and then everything's going to be fine.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, no, I mean, Nvidia's not going to. They usually report like a month after everybody else.
Yeah.
But everybody else, I don't think it's going to be super great.
Well, no,
Yeah,
they've
that's why
got all
Nvidia's going to go
the
up 20% a day.
they've got all the capex drawdown from purchasing AI infrastructure. That's going to
Yeah,
start getting
and
reported.
unlike Tesla, have you talked about Tesla's earnings at all yet?
A little bit earlier, actually. Yeah.
They seem fraudulent, right?
Well,
Maybe a little bit.
I mean, I think their forward projections are fraudulent, but well, not fraudulent. I'm not gonna say fraudulent, but their forward projections, while in line with analyst expectations, are likely wrong.
But like the numbers for this quarter were insane. I think the only way they can really be explained is by,
I mean, their revenues were insane. Their EPS was
yeah,
atrocious.
I think their revenues were boosted by uh, depreciating capex or depreciation being pulled forward.
Did they not? Did they not address that in their earnings report?
I don't think so.
And that would be fraudulent in that case.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and look at it because their revenues were just crazy off the charts.
I mean, I assume Tesla is using one of the big four, and they're gonna do.
It's unaudited. Q3's unaudited.
Oh, is it? Oh, I don't have any Tesla puts right now, JFresh.
Well, I don't think anyone's gonna fucking figure this out tomorrow.
I hope not. Well, now they know today.
Okay, 150 people know it today.
But 30
One
of
of
them
which
work
is
for
Ken Griffin.
Citadel. Yeah.
You dick.
Also, I could just be wrong. Like, who am I?
That's true.
Yeah.
But, I mean, in reality, you might be the only person that actually read Tesla's earnings report.
I don't know. It just seemed really weird.
That is odd that it would be
Also,
unaudited.
I mean, I think in general it is, right?
Well, I mean, it's either the auditor didn't sign off on the report, which is very concerning.
I don't think, I mean, you can go without an audit for, usually it's the yearly that gets audited, right?
Mm.
That's like why SMCI's having issues. 'Cause
Well,
they are
SMCI
at-
didn't have the same reporting requirements prior to being on the S&P. And now they have to meet the
okay,
S&P
maybe that's
reporting
it.
requirements, which I mean they should already be prepared to do, but
Wait, who's
I
that
mean,
company who has never released their 10K?
SMCI?
Are they ever going to release their 10K?
Not until Jensen's done selling his Nvidia.
yeah, he's gonna sell his Blackwell chips for another quarter or two.
No.
Ah, yes, the Blackwell chips. I love all these new and innovative applications for AI that have come out in the past 2 years since this huge boom in investment, such as chat bots and video generators and image generators.
Yeah, it's awesome. I was listening to some students the other day talk about how they're using ChatGPT to do some assignments.
Yeah, and you're gonna fail them all,
Interesting.
right?
Well, it wasn't in my class. I
Uh,
don't do assignments that can be solved with ChatGPT. I've checked.
smart.
It does a lot of them wrong. The problem is that the assignments are that the peak students were abusing were published on the internet. So at some
Mm.
point they were gobbled up by the AI. And if you like upload the assignment itself, it'll get pretty close to what the answer should be, is what I heard. But if you didn't upload the assignment and just said answer this question, I guess it didn't. I don't know.
Do we want to talk
I'm
about
not
the data
super
this
into it.
week? We have a shitload of auctions.
I was told that the size of the auctions don't matter.
I don't. Well, I think.
Oh yeah, George Robertson, right? There's always money in the infinite liquidity banana stand.
Yeah,
I
there's an
mean,
infinite
I
infinite
largely,
appetite.
I largely agree that issuance is irrelevant unless there is a structural policy change in the issuance, right? Like if Yellen starts to increase the size of 5+ year auctions, that is going to be significant, right? Because it's a weakening in the yield curve control. Whereas if she increases bill issuance, that's going to strengthen the yield curve control.
Yeah,
And
I mean, I could see that being priced in, right? Because the banks give them, I mean, they literally, the treasury sits down with the big banks and says, all right, what should I issue?
yeah, yeah.
And then takes in their feedback and then makes a issuance projection. So I imagine that a lot of that gets priced in around that time period.
But
And then
the
it's all kind of set in stone, right?
but
And then the only difference is if she underestimates how much she has to sell, that has to get adjusted in, and if she changes the distribution. But yeah, a lot of that'll probably shake out at shortly after the quarterly announcement.
well, I think big banks price, like they price in their recommendation, right? But then the treasury's actual like issuance statement is separate from that. And I don't think they always are in line with one another. But I expect bill issuance to continue because we're still pre-election. The unfortunate part about doing another cycle of, $500 billion in debt on bills means that the TGA is going to be effectively like bankrupt before the end of the year. Because
That is unfortunate.
we're still paying off the 42, the 3 month and the 6 month from the prior cycle.
Gee, Girk, it's almost like you're saying rates are going to rise regardless of Fed policy.
I've been saying that for longer than you, Dork. But yes,
Your
I've been
mom.
saying that too.
your mom. Good comeback.
Thanks, man. Yeah,
That was. I am decimated.
I knew I would wreck you that way.
We
Yeah,
did.
you just got ratioed.
Bodied. We have
Absolutely.
jolts. Um, I mean, so the labor market's still trying to price in a little like consensus weakness, but it's I don't think we get any. I think labor stays strong. I mean, our GDP is forecast at 3.3%, and that's Wednesday, right? Which is 1% above what the Fed estimates that is GDP that is inflationary, right? And yet somehow inflation's going to come down, and I really am going to love to see this play out, because it's stupid,
It is stupid.
right? It's just stupid. Like I mean, who's sitting around the Fed and not putting those two pieces of the really obvious puzzle together?
A great question.
It's like we've got GDP at 3.3% quarter over quarter, right? And we're estimating that inflation is going to fall 1% by next year.
Yeah.
It's why don't they just have the same guy do both reports?
Also a good question.
That makes me angry. It's
Telling you,
okay
dude.
though, because Europe's GDP might fall negative and that'll save us. Then the dollar is fine, right? Because
Well, China too, right?
China's GDP is probably going to miss 5% on the year, which would be devastating. But they keep promising they're going to hit their goal, which means they're going to just lie in the last quarter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the analysts in the U.S. are going to conveniently believe China when that happens.
Well, actually, something really interesting is that like Germany's come strongly into the spotlight because well, their balance of trade deficit keeps getting worse. And their economy is failing on several fronts, and they represent like more than
The Lollipop
40%.
Guild.
Well, more than 40% of the East, like the EU's GDP output, right? And so, last week, all of the ECB members were running all over the place saying as many bullish things about the economy as they feasibly could while the euro plummeted against the dollar. But that could just get worse this week. And because they've been cutting rates so aggressively, they're likely to see a spike in inflation because we export it to them via just the dollar alone, right? And so it'll be really interesting to watch and see if this week EU GDP estimates fall negative, but EU inflation moves back over 2%. That's gonna be I feel like that's a big concerning thing to watch out for.
Man, almost
Could
like a
be.
stagflationary debt crisis or something like that.
Right? Like all of these countries and just debt spirals created by the US because they kept buying our fucking debt to hedge their currency.
Man.
We've just roped everyone into the game and we're gonna fuck them all.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
It's like
Vietnam's a big cracker.
It's like showing up to a Diddy party.
It is, yeah. And there's a cracker in the middle of the floor with the tarp all around it.
Yeah. 8,000
right.
bottles of baby oil, one cracker, and a cocktail table. And you just walked in the room.
Oh man.
Ew.
That's the best description of the US economy I can come up with right now.
Oh yeah.
Dollar
like
keeps
that.
rising hard this week. It should spark some good action in the oil trade. I mean, oil's a dollar-denominated commodity, so dollar's doing a pretty good job propping it up so far. Again, long oil, any dip below 70. It's been working out pretty nice.
Just because you said that, oil's going to go to 50.
That's perfect. I'm hedged for that. Then my tail hedge prints super fucking hard, and I can buy oil at 50 as it goes back to 70.
Is your hedge SPX puts?
No, it's CL puts. I have like out of the money CL puts in case I like fall asleep while I'm trading oil on no sleep in the middle of the night, and it like does some crazy shit, or Israel announces that they really don't dislike the rest of the Middle East that much. Who knows, right? Netanyahu has a heart attack. I have to be prepared for the outsized risk to the downside.
Well, even if like Israel put boots on the ground in Iran and directly targeted their oil fields, oil would probably still go to $60 a barrel.
I mean, if Israel targeted an Iranian oil field, oil's gonna go to $100 a barrel, like that.
I'm just joking about how many fucking oil shorts there are and how hard they're going to pile in to stop that from happening.
They're all just going to get blown up. It would actually be devastating. Like probably as devastating as a liquidity crisis in treasuries if that were to happen. I mean
The same thing.
that's why all of like the US's like foreign policy right now revolves around, guys, please don't strike any oil reserves or nuclear facilities, please. Okay, but you promise, I don't care what you do, but just promise you're gonna not touch the oil, right? Right? And then Netanyahu's sitting there like, yeah, sure. We're gonna do all the things we promised to do always. And then, Blinken's like, all right, are you sure? You sure you're not gonna touch the fucking oil? And then the oil price of oil has just been reacting to those conversations.
It's great. It's all predicated on some really, really solid stuff here. This is wonderful.
We got core PCE Thursday alongside the EU inflation report. And then we also have jobless claims and Chicago PMI. And then Friday, non-farm and unemployment. And some people are forecasting that we see unemployment move back up to 4.2. And we see a serious drop in non-farm. But I don't see how we take a hit to the labor market before we take a hit to the dollar.
Vibes, bro.
Vibes.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. Anyway, that's
Come
the
on.
data. That's the data for next week. So it's pretty loaded up. I mean, which means what? We trade flat.
Well, you know my prediction.
Yeah, up 45 basis points.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm not full bulker. 40 basis points.
I'm sorry. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take your line from last week. I'm not gonna scale it. I'm just gonna move it over to this week at spot.
You know what? I find that agreeable.
Okay. Perfect.
Or can I make a real prediction?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Okay, so I guess I'll go first, even though Jay Fresh won.
I won. Apparently.
Flat till end of day Tuesday,
Okay.
and then from there,
That's the wrong. Hold on. I fucked up.
I mean, you could make my prediction a rectangle.
Hold on. No, I will not.
Okay, flat till end of day Tuesday.
It was at this moment that he knew he fucked up.
All right, and then close Friday at 5,700.
Interesting. So you're bearish on the labor data.
If it's hot, I think we go straight down.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Because of the increase in inflation expectations?
Yeah, yields are going to pop and everyone's going to flip out.
Yields are going to have to pop pretty hard. Okay. All right.
If it's hot enough, they will.
Yeah, I hear that. That makes sense. Fresh.
We're 58.08 now. 56.50.
Woo! I thought I was bearish.
56.50 end of week. Jesus, you guys are bearish as fuck.
I think we're both expecting hot prints.
I'm expecting bad earnings too from
yeah, hot prints and bad earnings together. That's
from the mega caps.
Interesting. Yeah, we have mega cap earnings. What, starting Tuesday? I should look at that.
I should specify this. So, not like bad earnings in the sense that like they're like really bad, but just evidence that this monumental like growth story just isn't gonna pan out.
Hmm.
But Jfresh, the money goes in a circle.
It does. That's true.
All right, so 56 what? Did you say
50. Yeah.
56.50? Jesus. Wow, you guys are
The monetary system is not unlike excitons, which are electron hole pairs, where the electrons are assets and the holes are liabilities. They all extinguish each other to be zero. Anyway, that's your dorky physics shit for the day, I guess.
Are you modeling the economy after an exciton?
No.
Well, damn shame.
Not yet.
Oh, there's hope.
I'm gonna go like that, and then so not as bearish as you guys. I'm gonna
It's
go
the
with
bear prism. Look at that.
57.69 end of week.
All right, let me snap this for the for posterity purposes. Toss it into the pickle jar so everyone can comment on how stupid I am, how bad my sauce sucks. Plot, dot, plot. Boom.
I think that this trend, like the downtrend, probably continues into like the following week, right? And we pull back towards like 56, like the 56 69 range, right? And
Nice.
then yeah, and then following the election results, we rocket back to gamma max, and then the market crashes
That'd be fun.
for November OPEX.
Another market crash prediction. I love it.
Not yet,
Our
but
credibility grows every day.
I know. If we don't predict a market crash every weekend, what are we even doing here?
We're going to miss it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
We've predicted 150 of the last 0 market crashes.
I mean, to be
the-
fair, you guys have predicted far more market crashes than me this year.
It's
All I'm
just
gonna
fun-
say
it's
is
fun
that
to do every once in a while.
the vol spike that happened on SPX, we did kind of fucking call that.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not really in the business of
well,
calling things. I don't need to be right.
We described the risk in detail.
We do two things, right? We do real analysis, and then we say a bunch of bullshit at the end of the stream. And the real analysis we do is extraordinarily accurate. The bullshit that we say at the end of the stream, not so much.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but that's just making wild predictions like that's just a joke, right? It's not a real thing. It'd be fun if it happens, though. I will be getting some extra out of the money puts on November OPEX if we rally off of this pullback. That much I can say. Like if we find support at 56.69 and push off of that, I'm gonna buy puts when I think that's topped, and like probably a lot of them.
Cool.
Yeah. Because I mean,
Cool,
at that point, like we know where the economy is going, right? Like there's going to be no question about policy anymore. And if Kamala wins, the current path we're on, which is unsustainable, is going to continue.
Again, emphasis on the wrong syllable. It's Kamala.
Whatever. I don't care about their names. Here, I'll call him Turnip. And if turnip wins,
Jesus.
inflation's going to 20%. So, I mean, along with the 10, 20, and 30 yield.
What if both of them win, inflation
Yeah.
goes up?
How did both of them win?
If either of them win, sorry, inflation goes up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I don't understand what the Trump trade or the Kamala trade is. The trade's the
I think
same.
the Trump trade is shorting companies that would be exposed to tariffs.
Yeah, that's fair.
And
But do you think he's not going to actually be able to get that shit done?
No, not really. I mean, he'll get blocked.
Who really actually believes that's possible to the point at which they adjust their trades? Like that sounds
Well, I mean,
retarded.
he's mentally unstable, so it's possible that he goes forth with
But
an
it's
executive order.
I think the purse string trade, which is what you're really describing, should more or less fall on Republican versus Democratic control of the House. So maybe the argument would be if Trump wins, it's likely that also Republicans will take more of the Congress. Which,
Yeah.
all
Well,
right,
they
then you
already
start
have the majority.
in both. I don't even.
No, not in both. They have the majority in the House, not the Senate.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I honestly haven't been following.
Yeah, so if Trump wins, he'd already have the House. And then, they would try to block the bill in the Senate. Unless we were to lose, unless the Dems were to lose the Senate also, but that's 2 years out, right?
Yes, it is.
2 years of Trump craziness to convince people to, well, should Trump win? But I mean, I think the economic outcome is the same regardless, right? It doesn't matter how they facilitate creating more inflation; they're going to create more inflation. Like I don't hear either one of them talking about implementing austerity measures and doing controlled wealth destruction. So
yeah, they're not. No,
yeah.
they're both talking about how they're just gonna
spend more money
and
11. Spend more money to fix all the problems that we never had in the first place.
Yeah, that sounds right. That sounds good. Let's do that.
I don't know. Yeah, the
Well, I
trade
think
is
we
the
can,
same trade.
that's why I think we can pull back, is because I think event vol is going to price up so much into the election and FOMC that it's just going to drive the market down into the sold puts. But that also creates an opportunity where everybody and their mother is going to want to sell the tails because they're overpriced. So I think following the election, when the event vol falls off, everybody's going to be bullish as fuck. They're going to sell those tails, and then the reality of the rates still rising is going to sink in when JPOW doesn't cut again, and
So,
it all
Dirk, I
comes
agree with you,
tumbling
but
down.
my reasoning behind why I agree with you is that SPX is positioned quite high on the seasonality chart.
Oh God, you son of a bitch!
Woo, got him.
Dork, I just need one thing to remain constant for my analysis to be correct, and that's I need you to vote for Jill Stein.
I actually couldn't. She wasn't on the ballot.
Oh. Damn
yeah,
it.
I voted for some other fucking nutball.
As long as you voted third party, then everything's going to pan out perfectly.
Oh, it's straight down the ballot, my friend. If there was no third party candidate, I just didn't vote for anybody on that thing.
Excellent. Your protest is noted.
You know what? And I've heard Jay Fresh's argument elsewhere on the internet too about how a vote for a third party candidate is a vote against another candidate, and I'm like, there is no another candidate, so you're patently wrong.
You guys can take this up internally.
The last thing I want to do is rehash this argument again.
Because you're wrong, right? You know you are, so you're just going to die on that hill. Look like
You
a
know
fool.
what? I would rather state publicly, even if I don't believe it, that I am wrong and you are absolutely right. That's how little I want to have this conversation again. So yes, you are right. I am wrong.
Damn, I should just do this from now on.
That's bullshit if you live in a swing state. Dork doesn't.
Nevada's
It
kind
also
of a swing
doesn't
state.
matter. He's right, so we
Is it?
don't have to talk about it anymore because he's right.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. Oh man. I don't know if I feel comfortable surrendering on such a weak. All right, fine. You know what? I actually don't
Do you
want to hear the
wanna-
argument. Yeah, you're
Do
right.
you want to
You're
talk
you're
about it
right.
or not?
You're
Those are the
right.
two choices you're making.
I goddamn. I
Don't
mean,
be irrational.
you know
I
me.
beat
Don't wanna
you both
talk
in a
about it.
submission.
If you don't want to talk about it, the irrational choice is to say he's wrong.
Oh man, yeah.
I know I'm right.
Yeah, you're right that saying he's right is the right move to stop the talking.
Exactly. So now we're all right.
Yeah,
And we
look
all
at that. Huh. What a
See how that
happy
works?
ending.
Hey, wait a minute. Now I don't feel like being placated.
But you're right.
You're already right. What more do you want?
I'm starting to second guess my decision. It's too late. My ballot's filled. It's been mailed.
Does anyone holds this bag into earnings as Israel election? Well, no, not necessarily hold the bag, but ship the bag off to other people who are
Oh, shit,
stupid
I
enough
forgot.
to hold the bag.
My bad, Kirk.
Ah, thanks. Yeah, why was Bob back, man? I thought you timed him out for like 2 days.
I timed him out for 30 minutes because I thought the stream was about to end, and then
Yeah, well, we were, but JFresh popped in, so we got to get
Oh,
extra
sorry.
bearish.
I didn't mean to do that.
No, you're good. That's perfect.
You said something about Bitcoin. You drew me in.
I know.
well, we got our predictions. I mean, the options market just looks like we're still just kind of topping out.
Yeah, we're still not getting any like decent liquidity to the upside. I don't think there's a lot of range. Obviously the more we move down, the more range opens up because like, bears are going to pile in and that opens up the opportunity for them to get squeezed back out again, but I mean, most of the last like 2 weeks have just been like bulls are taking profit on every upside move and then we fail again, right? And I think we're just still in that, but more failing and less upside move for a little bit as event vol just cranks. Because not only do we have all the super fucking important labor data and GDP data this week, but we're moving really close to the election and the next FOMC meeting. And I feel like the combination of all of those things, I mean, the MMs just have to price it in. And as they price in more and more of that, that's just going to it's going to put downward pressure on spot, especially because we're below, like we closed Friday below GN, which I feel like has some statistical significance. Probably would have had more significance if it was below the weekly DN. But I mean, my visual assessment of that is that it's pretty fucking bearish. Bro, the weekend effect. This is what we've become. I mean, what happened during the weekend? Nothing happened this weekend.
Yeah, nothing of significance.
I'm short wells and JPM. I mean, it doesn't matter which one you short. You can short XLF if you fucking want to, right? They both got a bunch of value for no reason over the last like 3 weeks. I feel like just profit taking is the name of the game as yields continue to rise and unrealized losses become increasingly more exposed. I just finished 3 hours, 9 innings of knockdown, drag out, grind in the dirt baseball. That sounds like the gay party that Dork was at last night. You're still
Party was
streaming?
awesome.
Oh my god, haha. I went to a fashion show yesterday. It was eco-conscious lingerie designed for women by my buddy, who's a gay man. And I got to see models put on negligees, which was fantastic. Dork, I'm going to take you out in New York society. I'm going to get you
Are
on
you?
the I'm going to get you on the ladder to a millionaire husband.
Perfect. I would love that.
And you could probably keep your girlfriend too. I mean, I don't think anything would stop that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Nuke's looking at the meatball right now. Do we want to try and piggyback it right on the end of this, or do we
That'd
want to
be
just say
that'd be awesome. Wait, can we?
we might be able
Is
to if
he-
we can figure it out?
Is he attaching all the pieces? I'd hang out
Just figuring out some
I'd
stuff.
hang out another 20 minutes if Nuke's gonna get the meatball up and running and we can show it to people. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I think it'd be worth it.
Do you want to explain the meatball to people?
No.
Loosely?
I can. Sure.
Just look at the words.
First you have meat,
Do you want me to
and
explain
then
it
you make
now, or
it
do you
into
want
a
to?
ball. Well,
Or do you
yeah,
want to
if we
wait
can't...
until we have a
Yeah, we just
visual?
wait until we can show it. I'll just take questions. There's a lot of them. Where if we close Bull or Bear Friday, you're more likely to get a continuation. I mean, no, I don't think that's true, but I do think that closing below gamma neutral means that we're going to open Monday with negative gamma. And if we open down in the overnight session, the market maker is going to sell into open. Like as the market opens, the market maker is going to shed delta and gamma because they are more deeply negative, gamma and delta. So yeah, yes, I think there could be a continuation because we closed below GN, but it's not like it's not based on some like seasonality probability model. It's just based on the fact that they need to sell stuff to properly hedge. Also, if vol spikes, same effect, right? So if we get a rise in volatility into market open, we probably get a continuation of the downside. Not to mention, like, failures of monthly GN so close to delta neutral tend to lead to a test at delta neutral. Then we could get a bounce, maybe. Or just fall right through delta neutral and keep going down. Oh, for a walk, and I can't believe y'all are still talking. We don't ever shut up. Any of us.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I can give you a quick update on the options macro.
Oh, cool. Yeah, give me charts. I'll throw them up.
I put charts in there.
Okay.
Not a whole lot's changed other than everybody still balls to the wall long calls with low leverage. So not super out of the money. Everybody's just kind of sitting, holding, waiting. Nobody's selling. So everybody's got their finger on the sell button.
Yeah, it looks
Everybody's
like a
all in.
small dip in call OI values, but not much. They're just like holding a lot of in the money calls still.
Yep.
Ooh, but the delta fell off a little bit harder. I like
Yeah,
the
well,
slow
that's
grind
been
down
kind
in
of a
leverage.
Yeah, that's been kind of a trend. The value of the contracts is still kind of trending upwards over the course of this year, although it's extremely noisy.
Yeah.
But the delta has been pretty flat around like 4.2 trillion or so.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think people are kind of just holding and waiting. There's also just ever so slightly more puts on the chain, which are obviously more bought. So people are starting to hedge the downside, right? So these are all indications that bulls are starting to get all in and are starting to think a little bit more about protecting what they've gained versus earning more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still think we're near the top for the year. I still think 5,900 by Christmas puts us just about at the top of previous historical bubbles. So, and obviously we're already pretty much there, right? So this kind of lines up with those other observations that people simply don't like to hold that little cash. So we're already at cash.
Cash minimum.
I don't know if I want to call it cash minimum, but from a portfolio balance perspective, yeah, people don't want to hold a lower percentage of cash than they are now, which is something like 13 or 14% of their portfolio.
Yeah, makes sense. Dork timed Bob out, but Bob asked a valid question. What do Japan elections? So this is kind of interesting from, well, I mean, I guess it's not, but foreign politics are more interesting than U.S. politics. So, on the back of the recent PM election, his whole plan for the economy was kind of upended, and he pulled back everything he said about, wanting Japanese investors to own more domestic assets, and and normalizing monetary policy. And he was just like, well, we can't cut, we don't want to cut, cutting's bad, we're going to continue what we're doing, and we're going to use the government to prop up the government. Now that is very much in line with his party's line. And so instead of being the dark horse winner he appeared to be, which caused some shakeup in the Nikkei at the time he was elected, he apparently is just towing the party line. Now, with that said, at the end of this month are Japan's elections, where the rest of the government will be put into position, and if his party gains control, he may revert back to his prior policy, which was far more hawkish, and would have realized a hike in rates far sooner. And so a lot of people are thinking he's just kind of biding his time until he can consolidate more power, and then upon consolidating more power, he is going to push to normalize Japanese fiscal and monetary policy. If he does, obviously the collapse in the spread from the Japanese side is a major threat, and leverage in that spread is quite high once again, almost back to where we were before the big shock from their 0.25 rate increase. I'm sorry, 0.15 rate increase that almost saw U.S. markets and Japanese markets crash. Well, Japanese markets did briefly crash, but U.S. markets almost followed suit with that. And had the spread in VIX remained wide beyond the very short period of time that it did, we probably would have gotten something akin to what the Nikkei saw in U.S. markets. However, it didn't, and things stabilized, and everything went back to quote unquote normal. But I think that's a big factor. And it is outside of what most people are watching, right? I mean, most people are just watching U.S. elections. They're watching FOMC. They're concerned with what the U.S. is doing and kind of ignoring what's going on over there. And it also poses a significant risk. And I would say definitely dictates the path of Fed policy as well. Because the Fed is extraordinarily aware of that. You guys can comment if you want, or to not. I don't know.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's
I'm just
pretty much
trying not
it.
to cough, but yeah.
So it's kind of an interesting dynamic that's just there on the sidelines, I guess, and it's being ignored for the most part, because the news cycle rarely focuses on Japan unless Japan's causing volatility. But they may cause some more volatility following this election. But however, what that does mean though is that the next BOJ meeting, which is coming just before the election, is likely to be nothing. They're not going to want to be seen as interfering with the path of the election, and so it's very unlikely that the BOJ is going to make any policy changes at this meeting. However, the next meeting in December, they could. And I think some amount of them hiking rates in December is currently priced into the swaps market. But since U.S. banks have nowhere to go, in order to continue lending and increasing money supply, they need the yen, and so yen leverage from its low, right, has moved at the top end, has moved back from, what was it, like 6.22 to 7.9, and we just crossed over 8x leverage on Wednesday of last week. So we're like right back to where we were July 2024 before they increased rates, which is disturbing.
That's wild.
And that spread has been reduced from both sides. So the cost to carry that has, 10x'd? Roughly?
Yep.
Well, an 8x multiplier. Almost a full point between the Fed and Japan. It's 50 points from the Fed, 35 from Japan. So 0.85 between the two. Tighter. And the same relative amount of leverage. That's bothersome.
Fun stuff, man.
Yeah, when I was, kind of trying to put together all of these flows and all of these asset liability pairs or financial excitons, if you will.
Yeah.
It kind of came up. It's like there's at equilibrium, rates must be higher. And it's like trying to nail down what is preventing rates from going higher. And the only thing I could really come up with was back to things that we've discussed before, kind of a confirmation that it is, foreign central banks essentially buying these bonds and foreign holders buying these bonds in disproportionate sizes recently. So as we ramped up treasury issuance, they ramped up buying, which that acceleration is what has prevented rates from going too high in the U.S. But now that now that their inflation is starting to become a problem, they're having issues with that process. They need to start selling or at least not buying as many. So I think as long as China and Japan can't keep buying our bonds, the rates are going to go up.
And on RRP after the end of the month is nosedived.
Yeah, that's just kind of like a capacitor, right? It's just being discharged. It's another nerdy physics analogy.
It's
It's just being discharged to eat up the short duration, right?
Yeah. Especially at 4.6 on the 3-month, right? But like, my problem here is, and this is something that I wrote about in that Twitter post like a little while back, is that the on-RRP balances are so low that it seems like money markets currently and also then do not have sufficient exposure to repo operations leaving them exposed to undue risk, specifically prohibited by Dodd-Frank. And the ability of the buck to break, so to speak. Well, it's quite high, which would be a failure in short-term liquidity. I think that's getting just worse. There was a really interesting chart I'd posted a couple weeks ago, and the only person who understood what it meant was Poopy. God damn. I don't know if I can find it again. Maybe I can. I'm gonna look for it. You guys talk about something.
I'm totally just lost in thought about what the permittivity of the RRP capacitor dielectric is.
Oh, that's a great question, but we don't even know what the area is
That's true. That's very true.
or the distance between the plates.
Well, if we just assume they're infinitely large flat plates, the things become a
Yeah.
lot easier. With the dielectric slid halfway in, I think that was a test question at one point.
Ew.
Yeah, infinitely large plates where half of the infinite area was dielectric. Yeah, that was a bad one. I think the most fun physics problem I ever had to
I
do
mean,
was
that's
actually the
not bad.
capacitance of a coaxial cable.
That's just two capacitors in parallel, dude.
That's true. Yeah. But the coax have you done the like multi-layer coaxial cable capacitance? That one's really cool.
No, I don't
Yeah,
think
so
about things that deeply.
if you
The
that was a
capacitance
homework
things.
question. It was captivating though because it's like, you think about it, it's like a bunch of you model the wires like a bunch of cylinders, right? Cylindrical tubes. And you find out the capacitance between each layer. It was pretty cool. I forget what the solution was because you can expand it out to n layers, and it becomes a really cool thing. But I forget what it was.
This is the worst story of all time.
I mean, I calculated all the Christoffel symbols for the Schwarzschild metric.
Ooh, that sounds gay.
It was extremely painful, and yes, by the end of it, I was wanting to kiss a man because I was done.
Yeah, I would too.
I was very happy and feeling a certain kind of way about my sexual orientation.
Understandable.
Yeah. Are we gonna get Meatball up? Looked
I
like
don't
we were
know.
about to.
It did
I
look
guess
like we were about to, but
Oh,
now
look at that. We got it. We got it.
Oh shit,
Oh,
do we?
shoot.
Hold
Yeah,
on,
we
hold
got
on.
it.
I'm still trying to find this like general collateral breaches thing.
Oh, damn.
Just
Got it.
don't click on the actually you can click on the bars, I guess. Can you? Maybe not.
You can.
It's in Dav, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's up.
I'm gonna pull that up in just a second here.
What do we got as our strongest bullish trend is DJT LOL.
The next one is VIX.
I love it.
This looks great. This looks really good.
Carvana's in the top 10.
Well, of course it is. It's fucking Carvana. Its only job is to go up.
It does go up often. Yes.
That's all it does. We were just talking about how its forecast PE was like something in the hundreds.
Yeah. It's going to keep going up. Maybe.
Definitely. Okay, I was wondering about that. Got it.
Actually, not bad. Nuke. All right, what's going straight down?
There
What's
we go.
CPRI?
Who knows? Let's see. Oh yeah, they just had a really shitty day. They went down 50%.
Holy cow!
That was in a day. It looks like Capri Holdings. What's the news?
Oh, that's that was like a merger that got watered down.
Ouch.
It's like Michael Kors and something else. It was some fashion merger that got called a monopolistic move. Got watered down. I think it's Europe or something. I don't know.
That happened in like one candle. That's crazy.
Well, yeah, it'll do that.
Yeah, and so there may be here. I think I'm ready to explain this. I found the chart.
The only thing is we're still using the unmodified. We're using the raw data for the neutrals, which looks like poop, but it'll get fixed.
So these are general collateral breaches in the repo corridor based on tri-party exposure to repo rates. So you're looking at your real rate versus your overnight repo rate, right? And breaches in this, like the corridor represented here, right, represent periods of undue stress on the repo market or lack of available short-term liquidity. And so to back up my own statement, there is this chart, which is showing that, here in September, October 2024, the repo market is currently under severe stress. And the spread between overnight repo rates and short-term bills is becoming excessive to the point where it is I guess the nearest correlation would be like in 2019. Right, Dork?
Yeah, I think you're right.
With the like massive drawdown in reserves.
Yeah, right when the Fed was just like raising rates a little bit, just the tip. And then banks are like, "Holy fuck, we're going to die."
Yeah, well, this is the largest spike in repo rates since the coronavirus like crash. And with no like, the TGA is up. There's no secondary liquidity market like open right now, right? There's the short-term window, but no BTFP or anything like that. So like, I'm trying to think of how to explain this simply. This is kind of complex.
There's no fucking money.
There is not a minimum appropriate. Well, the minimum appropriate reserve requirements are not being met. So that 3 trillion in reserves, which is associated with a significant chunk of our economy, is being squeezed, right? So the size of the market is not proportional to the size of available liquidity.
There's no fucking money. Is that pretty much what you said?
Well, there's no. So all that money on the sidelines that everyone's always going on about doesn't exist, and this is proof that that money is not on the sidelines. A, and then B, proof that there is no available liquidity should those reserves be brought to bear. And then the collapse of this would possibly mean a break of the dollar and a failure of money market funds. This is extremely excessive divergence. as you can see. I mean, it's there's I don't think there's any question about that.
Yeah, it's all horseshit.
Anyway, so just signs that I'm right. I'm just jerking my own chain here mostly, but I feel like the fact that it's data supported is valid. RIP housing and rental markets. Then, yep, yeah. Well,
Hey,
RIP.
Girk, show off our shit.
Yeah, I'm going to. That's what I'm doing now.
Oh, I
Boom.
thought you were like, hey, look, it's there. So I'm going to talk about this fucking repo shit.
Yeah, well, I mean, I had to finish what I was saying already while we were buying Nuke time to do a 6-minute turnaround on a fully functional feature on our website. So, welcome to the Meatball indicator. For those of you guys that have access to it, lucky you. For those that you don't, get fucked. But no, seriously, you'll have access probably, hopefully soon. TM. JFresh, I'm going to pass the ball over to you, and you can explain what all of this bullshit means.
Oh yeah, we probably should have thought about this since I can't talk very
Yeah.
I
well.
can do
but-
it. I mean,
all right, yeah,
Just jump in and correct him when he's wrong.
yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
I
Yeah, just
like
hit me
that.
with a soundboard sound. And correct.
Got
So
it.
these are basically a collection of technical signals that we're calculating, and we're using the Greek's information to sort of weight them. So yeah, there's some stuff going on under the hood that sort of tells you how these guys are positioned relative to their options chains and the price action. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So you see that they're pretty self-explanatory. You got bullish consolidation, etc. And yeah, these are just basic technical signals, but yeah, once again, we're ranking them for you as well. So you can kind of see the hottest things for the things you want to do, right? The consolidations are cool for vol shorts, and the reversals and breakouts are cool for people who want to try to ride the coattails of that price action. And then there's the trending ones, which I mean, they're just going up or down. So yeah, it's really not complicated conceptually.
It's
Yeah, I
not, but
mean, the basic-
it's a big step towards getting all of this data kind of packaged up and in one place where people can find like actual stocks in the market to look at based on their options data versus just trying to sift through one stock at a time and not having any like kind of direction. And this helps give you stuff to look into, and then you should be able to click it. That's going to pull up your Greeks, and you can kind of see what's going on there. And you can kind of sort through them and go look at their options chains, and maybe make some decisions based off of that. And ADT is a bullish breakout, and it's kind of finding. Hold on, I might need to refresh this.
ADT's options chain is also kind of creepy.
Kind of slim it is, but
Yeah,
it's possibly
well,
picking up quite a lot of interest right now. As you can see, like gamma neutral dropped off
Delta
really
neutral
hard.
tanked, yeah.
So
and I just want to just say two very brief things. The first one is this is kind of just a complementary thing to what we've already built, and I sort of think of it as two sides of the same coin. So what we already built is if you have a stock you like to track, we can help you track it and time it. The other side of that coin is if you're looking for something to track that has a certain characteristic, you can go and look for it. And so both of those things together, provide two distinct complementary things. The second thing is that everything's at gamma max. We've been saying this for a while as we've been putting this together. So hopefully as time goes on, this will become more of an actual separator of things, right? Because right now you can, for example, you look for something that you might be looking for something that's bullish and you want to play it. You would go and click at them and they're all like at gamma max, and that would kind of tell you, okay, maybe going long on things isn't going to pay off super big here. But there could be some bear ones that, since everything's a gamma max, there could be some bear ones that pop out as something that you could play a reversal on, for example. But what we'd like to see is our beta users actually play with this and give us feedback on if they found something helpful or if it's all just garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping that a bunch of cool trade ideas come out of this, right? So, I see this on the scanner. And if it has this setup with the Greeks, then I do this thing. That's the kind of stuff that this, the type of trading style this really enhances, because it's not like, especially as a volatility trader, you don't really care what you're trading. You only care you don't care what stock you're trading, you care what behaviors you're trading.
Yeah.
Yeah, we try to, the methodology that we came up with should tell you, for these types of behaviors, bullish or bearish, these stocks are going to be the ones that display the largest signal in that area. So we're trying to filter out a bunch of noise.
Fix does look bullish.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's got a healthy bullish trend
I
going.
will say I haven't gotten a lot of chance to dig into our outputs yet, but it looks pretty good with the shortened time frames. It's definitely capturing more of the near term price action, which is exactly what I wanted to see. So awesome job, Dork.
Cool.
JFresh, well done.
Yeah, and there are parameters that we can tweak. So if everybody says, we need it to be faster responding, that tells us one thing we can tweak. Or if everybody says we need it to be less noisy, that also is important. Or if people are split down the middle, maybe we can think about a way to give, multiple indicators that break that out for people who are looking for, they would rather be early and take on more risk with the noise versus people that really want, like a fat pitch that maybe they missed a lot of the run on, want to look for a little bit more of a return that's guaranteed, a smaller return, but maybe a larger guarantee.
Yeah, less
These
like
are,
lower risk.
yeah, these are all things that we can tweak. So that feedback will be really valuable to us.
Guarantee the pickle jar would rather be early and lose. Well, I mean,
understand that.
there's a
Well,
lot of
there's a whole
value
list
in
of
continuations, but yeah. And a lot of the idea for this, stems from something that you guys are more familiar with, right? Which is, looking at these gamma curves, and we talk about them pretty frequently. Um, and what we're looking at is positioning, and price relative to the exposure in the options market, and that's how we're deriving those, the scanner. And so, it lets you really quickly look at, things that are overextended or oversold, but not in the traditional sense of how you would look at them with like RSI, but in terms of their options market and the relative interest surrounding the current price.
Yeah, so if you want to like pull up just an example, I mean, right now, because a lot of things are gamma max, um, you might want to pull up like bullish consolidation, because those would be ones that have run to gamma max and then now are starting to flatten out. So those could actually be good. Those could become a bearish reversal over time. So if you pull up Zion, it's a pretty good example of something. If you want to be early and take on that risk, Zion, this would be a stock that I would never just pull up randomly from our list of tickers. But because this popped up here, I can see, okay, it's a Gamma Max. The last few days it's been flattening out. Gamma Max is still going up, so it could turn around just like it did last, a week prior. But if it does fall, it's got a good, 10% range down to gamma neutral. So it could be a good one to look at as a potential short. And these are kind of just the ways to think about this data set?
Willie has a good question. Ever think about giving a stock options chain in general some sort of rating or score with respect to its options chain being liquid or illiquid? I mean, mostly you're talking about like a conversion of volume to OI. And that's, yeah, so like Jay Fresh was saying, we can plug in a lot of parameters into this. It's pretty open, and that is something that we could weight things additionally by.
Yeah, that's just volume versus OI. We could add that, but
Yeah. So as a chain
Um,
becomes more liquid, its weighting could become stronger. And
but
yeah,
I can tell you now, it's probably going to scale something like the larger the company, the more liquid the options chain.
yeah, most of the time, the more
But
market cap, the more delta.
the only exception to that are meme stocks,
Mm,
and those will tend to show up in this list because the options are leveraged. They'll tend to be more memey, so they'll have larger moves and they'll show up in this indicator. So you can see Carvana's in there, DJT's in there. What else is a meme stock now? Upst was in here. AFRM's kind of a meme. Uh, Coin is in there. I don't see Master MSTR, which is interesting. I would have expected to see it somewhere
I don't see
because that's one of the
Carvana.
largest
Which list is Carvana?
bullish trend.
Oh, I see it.
Where's yeah, interesting that Master's not in here. Or maybe maybe it didn't make the top 10 on one of these lists. Maybe top 20 is more appropriate, but
Can you do a low
Yeah.
risk, high risk button on the meatball? No, because I mean, our idea is not to, these are not like, here's a trade, right? These are, here's a stock to look at that could be a trade, right? And so, you know, there is validity in keeping the signal soft, because
Yeah.
everybody's going to approach these differently. And you know what they determine is the signal that they want to look for or follow is, you know, going to be based on their own interpretation of the data. And I think leaving it that way is better, because you don't open up the possibility of, well, being wrong for starters, which is not ideal. But also, you know, you're not unduly biasing the data in any way. Like, the goal here
Yeah, I
is to
mean,
present data in an aggregated way that's easy to read and something to look into, but not to directly signal a trade.
yeah, this data, you know, this platform that we're building, it is not our intention to ever try to tell you how to trade or influence how you trade. It is to provide data based on how we think people like to trade.
Yeah. I mean, there's like for example, you know, you can kind of take you know, something like what's a good one with decent liquidity? A firm, probably. You know, and this has been on the list for a little while, as, you know, slightly bearish, and it was realized, right? Like, there was a decline in price, but some people are gonna, you know, they're gonna want to come in on something like this, and they're gonna want to follow the trend and vol, right? And you know, I know a lot of you guys haven't seen a lot of the program, but you know, we have like, we track volatility on the, you know, the 10, the 30, the 60, the 90, right? And as that volatility starts to trim back, you know, and there's more and more evidence of vol shorting, right? You know, it becomes desirable to start shorting vol alongside the broader market. And then, you know, that's something that maybe you would have thought about back here when this was, you know, more of a bearish reversal signal. Is like, you know, where is vol? Is vol falling? Is vol falling on the short time frame? Is it falling on the longer time frame? Do I want to be short vol here? And some other people are going to look at that as like, oh, realized volatility is going to pick up to the downside, as this fails, because structural support on the chain maybe not very strong, right? And as support levels break down and profits are taken, the long put position becomes attractive. And so there's a lot of angles to approach this from, right? Where you can target specific support levels using something like a butterfly, out of the money, right? Where your upside risk is eliminated, but you're exposed to a downside move if you're correct and it falls into the price range you expect it to. And so I think leaving it open to interpretation also leaves a wider range of trades available, and all of those would have ultimately been successful in analyzing this data.
Yep. Here's a picture. You figure out what's in it.
Yep. And it's always going to be that way. I don't think we're ever going to seek to provide direct signals. It's always going to be, here is the data, interpret it. And I'll say this, the data is useful enough that there are interpretations which are just correct, right? And you'll see things happen in options chains where you're like, that definitely means this, right? Like a couple of weeks ago we were like watching MSTR, and upside OI just exploded, right? It fell to support, and it was like you just straddle it there, and it's either going to fail support or it's going to bounce super fucking hard, because every dollar to the upside meant like another 200 million in buy pressure. And so and then the straddle there, ultimately, like if you'd had theta on it, printed out like $50 on the upside move, times 100. So I mean, sometimes you don't need to pick the right position for the like aggregate positioning in the market to have its influence. It's just there and you can see it, and that might be more important than anything else. Could you add more mid caps? We're trying to. Yeah, we're working on adding liquid options chains in the R2K and R1K. But I mean, we're going to continue to try to keep the chains available on the platform liquid. And over time, eventually, just the entirety of the options market. But currently, because we're in beta and our infrastructure isn't that fleshed out, we're kind of just we're putting in the things that are important first.
Yeah, it's just, it's basically, yes, we can add whatever ticker you want. It is a game of, before we launched, the car was parked in the driveway and we could work on it as much as we wanted with no consequence. Now that it's running on the highway, we can still work on it, but we also have to make sure it's keeps going down the highway too. So that it's just a little slower, because adding things is a lower priority than maintaining things. But we can add them pretty simply. It just might take a few days instead of instant.
I think
The other
something
thing I'll say is we're already starting to see, as memes and stuff. So something will pop and people ask about it, and somehow it'll squirrel its way into our list of tickers to update. And the options chain, we were looking at one today that squirreled its way in there, and the next expiry is November OPEX, and it literally has 2 strikes with like 9 OI on each strike.
I actually don't know how that stock made it in there. I think it was just,
I don't
at the
either.
time we built the list, it was just way more liquid than it is now.
Maybe,
or like
I'm not
reverse
sure,
split
but,
or something like that.
But yeah, if you find like a mid cap that has a pretty liquid chain and has a lot of activity, and we don't have it, let us know and we'll put it on the list. But just remember, I mean, running these calculations for essentially now at this point almost 3 years back in history takes a little bit of time, while we also have to run all these calculations every day for the current stock. So it's just a matter of trying to prioritize the calcs, but we want to have as many stocks as possible, especially if they have a liquid chain.
And I could kind of foresee us moving to a model where we're tracking all of the chains, and if the liquidity environment in a stock improves, we just start loading the data up for that stock as it improves. And then, you know, if it falls below a predetermined threshold, like Delta's percentage of market cap or something, then, you know, we cut it. And that way, you know, we ensure that the stocks that we're looking at, the data is more valid because the chain is more active or liquid.
Yeah, honestly, going back in time, if we had to do this again, I'd probably say we should have just run everything and just not shown the ones that aren't doing much or extremely illiquid, because we can't really start and stop like that. Anyway, this is all minutia that nobody cares about. But yes, we can add mid caps that you're interested in. You just have to tell us.
Did we not
Because we're
add
not gonna
Lumen? I thought we did.
Lumen's in there.
Yeah, I thought it was. Yeah, we have Lumen now. I added that one. But yeah, we have it.
Yeah, you add it, it'll get worked through in, but it might take a couple days.
Yeah. And you guys can always, for the beta guys, at least for now, you guys can always just, if there's a ticker that you really, really want to see, let us know and we'll try to, we'll look at it. And if we deem that it has sufficient liquidity, we'll load it up for you. It's not really a big problem, but like JFresh said, it just takes a couple days. Anyway.
Yeah, because like Lumen has $160 million delta on its chain. That's pretty small for even for a stock chain. So yeah, we might miss those things, but obviously, if I would call this a meme stock, but yeah, if a meme stock pops up that you weren't thinking about before, we can add it. It just will take a few days, and that can be a challenge with meme stocks and timing them, but yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, and I did talk about JPM earlier. I'm still short. I still have a target around 210, 205. Anyway, yeah, so play around with it. Let us know what you guys think. Obviously, I'll clip this and post it in the Pigeon Whale slash beta Discord, and that way if anybody missed it they can see it. And I think that's it for today. So looking forward to hearing your guys' feedback on it though.
Hell yeah.
All right, I'm tired of talking. My
Yep.
voice
I'm
hurts.
hungry.
Yeah, Sam. All right. Thank you guys all so much for tuning in. JFresh Dork, thank you for coming on. Thank you for Meatball. Nuke, you're not here. Well done, man. That's fucking awesome. I'm so glad it's pushed forward. It's gonna be exciting. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Yeah, all we
Later.
got to do now is wrap up live data, and we can push.
Yeah,
We can launch.
we could.
Good
shit.
Thanks
for having us.
So, yeah, guys. And if I didn't get to any of your questions today, feel free to hit me up on the Discord. I should be around for most of the rest of the day. I got a ton of stuff to dive into. And I'll have Pickle's picks out tonight, as always. Thank you, guys. All right. Later.